Wait a second. Hey, everybody. Let me close out these things. I don't know what's going on here. You guys see me? Okay, I think this is where we are going to be bringing Larry into. How y'all doing tonight? We're still trying to figure out how to get Larry in here because StreamYard doesn't really work for him. And we'd really like for you guys to see Larry. It's always awesome to put a face, an expression. Hey, Donna York. Hey, Goya. Audrey, who does that? Yeah, who does that? There's some more who does that's coming up. That was a great, great live. Hey, Emily. Love you. Barbara Walters. Yay. You made it. Hey, Mama T. Hey, me, Joe. Tennessee Mountain High. How y'all doing? Yeah, I know it's late. We have car troubles. We had some radiator issues with the vehicle today. It's been a pretty good day, though. I've been kind of busy. I'm waiting on Xander so he can help me figure out how to get Larry in here. There's Larry. Hey, everybody. We're trying to figure out how to get you in here, Larry. Oh, no. What happened there? Okay. I don't know how this works, Larry. This is a whole different little window here. Saying it's your personal meeting room. Let me see. This is the StreamYard. I'll send that to you. I'm not sure what's going on here. Hey, Sally Forth. Hi, Dank. Invite. That's what I just did, but that's just StreamYard. There's this little box up here that says Larry's personal meeting room. And it's not really giving me any options. Yeah, this is going to be a truth bomb night. Reality. What's really going on? Well, it's not StreamYard. He can't really do StreamYard. Every time we send him StreamYard, it doesn't work for him. And he has this other streaming platform that he's done on other. He's on the show Matrix Minds. You guys know what that is. That guy has Larry up sometimes, so you can catch him there too. But apparently he has this particular platform that does work for him in streaming. But
Do you not know how to use your own StreamYard?
yes, I can use StreamYard, but I don't know how to bring this other stream to StreamYard. He has another streaming app that works for him. Larry gets messed with anytime he goes on people's lives. It's not just our live. Larry often has technical difficulties. It's partially due to he does live in the mountains, but I don't think it's at all like totally why. Yeah, I can't get this. Larry needs something to come into that little box there, I guess.
Well, this is his Zoom meeting, so you should. Let's do that. This. Yeah. It says it's waiting on him to start it.
Okay, Larry, you need to start it.
What's up, guys? Bear with us. No.
Sally Forth is having technical difficulties. Wow, more technical difficulties with Larry.
Send invite to chat. Well, I mean, we've never done this before either. So.
Yeah, no, we've never done this before, so bear with us.
Send invite to chat.
Go run over into everybody else's chat and say we're going live. Oh. Screen changes. Oh, connecting.
Oh, yeah.
Is it Larry?
Put me in there. It'll be on there. So.
Out there's Larry. Hi, Larry.
Hold on a sec.
You got to share screen.
I've been trying to start with the. Doesn't want to use that camera. It just wants to use the computer camera for us.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Can you hear him?
I can't hear him.
You can't hear him?
Are you talking? Talk for us. I don't think you can hear us.
You're connected. Can you hear?
Connected.
Oh, he's connected to audio and can't hear you yet. It tells you everything. That's cool. I've only done this once in an interview that somebody wanted to do with different predator hunters. And yeah, I mean, it went pretty smooth that time, but I wasn't trying to do all this shit.
Are you going to share the screen?
Yeah, I'm just
when he loads.
Waiting for him to be able to hear. Can you hear?
Can you hear now, Larry?
Can you hear me now? Good.
They can't hear the dogs eating.
I'm gonna move the things.
Yeah, I'll go move the things.
I'll do it. I gotta change anyway.
Okay.
Can you hear him yet?
I can't hear Larry yet.
Let's see. Microphone, mirror box. That's why. Same as system. Can you hear him now?
Can't hear him.
Can you hear us?
No sound. Can you hear us? Yes. Oh, there we go. There we go.
Can you hear him?
I can hear him now.
Okay. So let me
We did it! Yay!
let me share the thing.
Okay.
Share the screen.
I know.
And I'm gonna try not to share our portion of the screen to this because it's only using the shitty camera, but I'll share his to this.
Okay.
And then do something like this
Okay.
or that or like
There we go. Well,
who wants to be
there
big?
we go.
Larry want to be big?
Larry wants to be bigger.
All right, cool.
Larry's big news.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Sandra will be right back. Are you chiefing? Oh, man. My vape isn't here.
Okay.
What? Yeah. Okay. It worked. Can you see the chat? Oh, okay. You can't see the chat.
No, because he's on just his phone. You might be able to open YouTube also, but I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, people are saying hi, Larry. How you doing this lovely evening? I saw your sunset. Your sunset was wild. Mm-hmm. I know. It was gigantic. Mm-hmm. I know. What have you seen the compasses being different now? Well, I shared a post about it where, yeah, the polls are definitely showing that they're shifting quickly. Right. I know. I know. I saw some other monument got blown up by lightning. I can't remember which one it was, though. I wonder if they do have claims for lightning on satanic altars. Maybe. Yeah. I can hear you. Can y'all hear him all right? Oh no, look at it. It's mood 24/7. Oh, that was a gift. But yeah, it's black light. It looks amazing under a black light. And it's almost a 3-dimensional eye portal. It's pretty cool. No, can't hear him, Tina. Wait, they're saying that they can't hear you. No, what? We can hear him. Oh, no. Okay, they haven't heard anything you said. I can hear you, though. Okay, wait a minute. Audio.
They can't hear.
Nope.
That's cool.
Yeah, I know. We got to figure this out. I do not know. All right. Can you guys hear him now? He said you're looking beautiful, mister.
Thank you.
Can y'all hear him yet? Nothing. Can't hear anything from Larry.
I can hear him. Okay, this isn't going to do anything.
Okay.
'Cause-
We'll put it back on the top one then because I changed it.
Okay. I think
All
it's the
right. Give us a
Zoom-
second.
Let's see. So it's probably something in Zoom.
hmm Yeah.
I'm going to
Nice.
fuck with the audio a little bit. You guys, as soon as you can hear Larry, just put ones in the chat so I know.
Yeah, they still can't hear you, Larry.
Yeah.
We're trying.
Well, we can hear you. So I
Well,
don't
we
think
can hear you.
It's on your
So
side.
I'm saying they can only hear us,
We're just like
not you.
talking to ourselves. Yeah.
Right here.
Well, we're
See if-
on the mic, but yeah.
All right.
No?
Mm-mm.
Did it?
Did it? Yeah, he switched a setting there. I don't know why these two platforms aren't wanting to communicate well together. Both ends.
Yeah. Hmm.
It'll suck if we have to do the phone call again.
We might.
I don't know why you can't StreamYard. That's so weird. Mm-hmm. All right. Go on, thou shalt not try me. Made 24/7. I know. I know. I was like, there's my Spirit Beast shirt.
I do not know.
We can't fix it. I don't know what to say.
Oh. Yeah, I know. It's not your side because we can hear you. I don't think it's your side. I think it's just like
No, guys, we hear him perfectly fine.
Yeah.
That's why we can't.
StreamYard's just not
figure
wanting
this
to
out.
pick up Zoom for some reason. StreamYard's blocking out Zoom as yeah.
They're saying check your Bluetooth connection.
Oh,
See, we can hear you perfectly, but there's no sound of you.
they don't really know what we're doing, so they're telling us to unplug our headphones and shit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we can turn our mic back up a little bit.
Can you hear us better now?
Is that better? It picks up a lot of background when I turn it way up is the problem. Really?
Wow. Through Facebook.
We just do a video chat on Facebook.
Can we do that?
Yeah, you can do that. I mean, you gotta like.
Oh, share the Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we could.
Yeah, share through Studio. How can you log on through Facebook after we're already in all this, though?
What? We just do it like this and do a video chat and share it.
Okay.
And see if that works.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, I mean. Right.
Nah, maybe not.
Yeah, but it'll still be on YouTube.
It'll still be on YouTube, and at
we'll
least people can watch it live while it's live.
We'll just call if they fuck it up. But yeah, let's try that out. Huh?
He doesn't want to go to Facebook, Joe.
Okay, you want to just call then? I don't care.
We can call.
It's up to you. I don't know.
I don't either. It's weird. I'll be right back though. What is all that noise? Come here. Good night. I didn't know.
Mhm.
Let the dog use that.
In Zoom? Uh-huh. Okay.
Mm,
Okay.
no.
Am I gonna have to invite you back? How do I do that?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I got the link, so just pop out and then I'll send it to you. I could kick you out. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you now. Can they hear you? Can you guys hear Larry yet?
Are the technical difficulties over yet?
No.
No. Yeah.
Put one in the chat if you can hear Larry. Free the shit.
Always a problem.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just one difficulty after another.
I mean, the studio, the StreamYard should be picking up anything that happens on the computer, which is Zoom right now. So I don't know. Yeah, and I can hear you fine, but they can't hear you.
What? What?
There are a lot of settings in Zoom. I don't quite know. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, that's what I was messing with. Okay. Oh, is it? How about now? Okay. So that's a good one. The same as system, and then well, the problem is we're using audio interface here in order to split headphones and have because the mic's plugged into that, and then we get good sound from us to the mic to that to the computer. So it's a little more complex than people in here are realizing. Yeah, I don't know either. You want to just call? I mean, you can stay on here and call. I mean, we could just leave your image up. So I don't know if it'll sync up exactly, but yeah, either phone. I mean, we're on a computer, so okay. Cool. Here, answer that.
Hey there.
Yeah, your face is gone.
Your face is
Put
gone.
that over here.
Of course.
Hang on.
Oh.
Oh, there he is. Can we hear him though?
Yeah.
No.
Huh? What? No, don't.
Speak.
He's talking. You need your headphones on.
Oh,
Tina.
I need my headphones on.
Good
Duh.
God.
Well, I heard him on the phone.
He's barking at you now. Look what you've done.
Okay.
Is it? I don't hear that.
How about now?
Okay, because we're I know why. Because we're talking into a mic and a phone. And
Okay.
yeah.
I had to put the phone farther away.
And actually I'm gonna mute you. I'm gonna mute on Zoom because we don't need that. That might help. Am I still echoing? Okay.
Am I good? Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of an echo, but
Yeah.
I don't mind it too much.
That's
Do y'all
fine.
have an echo?
You guys good? You guys happy with this?
I don't hear Larry. No, can't hear him.
Yeah, they should. I mean, you can hear everything.
We don't hear Larry. No, we don't hear Larry anymore. He's not coming out of here anymore. I told you that. Take the headphones off. You can't hear him out of the phone. That's why I was saying I couldn't hear him. When he turned his camera on, then...
What do you do?
No. Yeah.
Now we can hear you out of the phone. We can't look at you and hear you at the same time.
Well, we were. What happened?
Okay. Can
You
you all
were.
see me?
We cannot see you, but we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, I can still hear you.
But you can hear me.
Yeah.
So I have to go back into this and then bump back onto my Zoom.
Well, I can hear and see you better now that you're on there.
But you cannot hear him now out of the phone. We're just going into the microphone.
They can hear him now. They said they can hear him.
You can hear him now?
Cannot hear him. Make up your minds. Put a one in the chat. If you like ones. Okay.
Cannot hear him.
Maybe we'll just do away with the Zoom thing and do it like the other day and just do the phone. I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I can hear and see you, but they're saying that they can't hear you.
For some reason, the video and the audio aren't like going together. It's
Yeah.
one or the other.
Yeah, I did that because I thought that would cure the echo, but I guess it didn't. Yeah.
Right, but he unmuted it.
Because you can hear me through the phone and vice versa. Maybe.
Yeah,
about now?
it's either we can see you or we can hear you. Unless StreamYard will work
It's a
for
blessing
you.
and a curse.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like I guess we could just look at him.
No, we can't just look at him. I guess it's just going to be audio. Totally.
Totally.
I know.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, and you can still,
Yeah.
at least you'll still see us. Like, we'll just,
Hold the thing up to the thing. Yeah,
yeah,
we could do that.
we could do that.
We had a
No.
we had
but
a phone holder thing
we can hold it.
other than this. Let's see this. Yeah,
Oh,
just
we
call.
do have this.
Just call.
Yeah, just call. You're already called. We'll just click you out of video.
Oh, yeah. I don't fucking know.
Right here. Just got
Good
those
noise.
kinds of ghosts.
It's a really cool noise. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay.
get rid of Zoom here. That's because I'm
That's
calling you.
he's calling your video.
How do I sign out of fucking Zoom? Yeah.
Mhm.
You don't have to answer it yet if you're not ready. All right. I don't know. Lead meeting? Head meeting?
I still hear you.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we
I'm
are.
signing out here.
Okay. I think I signed out of there.
Okay.
What is going on?
I have no idea.
How come I can still hear you?
Because you're on the phone.
You're on the phone with me.
What the fuck?
You're on Facebook.
It's your other chip.
How the fuck is that? How the fuck that?
Because you called me on Facebook. Did you not have Zoom on
Man.
another window?
He's got a phone.
There's Larry. Hey,
Uh,
Larry.
Oh,
So if
damn it, man.
we could like hold this thing up.
Yeah, that. He doesn't want to look at the screen. He wants to look at us, so we
No,
can
but the
talk.
people want to look at him. So
I know the
that's-
people want to look at him, but they're not going to get to.
Well,
Well, he could open YouTube and look at us if he wants to. Maybe.
I guess you can hold me up to the people when the people want to see me. How about that?
The people always want to see you. Here, I need to lower myself into there.
No,
There's
that
Larry. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Back.
see, that's not going to work.
back here. There you go.
There's
Where's
Larry.
the-
See, chilling in between us.
Cheers, my cyber pals.
Hey, my buddy,
Hey.
cyber hugs. So yeah, there's Larry, chiefing.
What
He'll hang out between us.
you can send me
We
down
can
if
help
you
hold
want
him up.
something.
Larry's line is monitored. It says we're all
Yeah, I'm sure it
monitored.
is.
Everybody's monitored.
Who does
There's
this?
a cyber
Exactly.
hit.
Who does
There you
this?
go.
Yep,
Oh man.
everyone's monitored. And that's why,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know.
it's called human activity recognition software.
You're gonna have to put him closer to the mic. That's hard to hear.
Can y'all hear him? See, he'll get blurry then.
Hello,
Hello. Can y'all hear?
can you hear me?
They can hear you.
Yeah, nice camera hole you got there.
Oh, you like it?
Super expensive.
Super expensive. When you get your lab equipment back, we'll come and do some awesome
There's all the ones.
filming and processing for you.
Yeah, I think you have a nice what's that oscilloscope or something? It's like a camera on the end of a little wire kind of deal. That was kind of neat. I have a digital camera or a digital microscope.
Oh yeah,
Those
Oh
are-
yeah, the
the
endoscope.
endoscopes.
Yeah.
It's an actual microscope that is digitized, and you can do
Oh.
live video as you're studying someone's materials or whatever you'd want to call
Mm-hmm.
the thing you're looking at. It would do a live stream like this
That's awesome.
through the microscope.
Yeah.
Oh
The part
wow.
about that is I figured out how to set up the digital microscope to my deep astral viewing telescope,
Right.
and I saw some pretty neat stuff out there.
Oh wow, that's
If you
pretty
imagine
awesome.
put a microscope on a telescope, obviously you get a much further reach. Looking at the moon is pretty interesting. I realized it was actually covered in green stuff. In case you're wondering, that's a neat little dive. If you look up green substance on the moon, you'll figure out that there's basically a layer of, I guess you'd say microbe, like maybe moss or something.
Wow, really?
Speaking of the moon, isn't it interesting how that satellite they sent out that was the size of a microwave? NASA sent this little microwave size thing out to the moon. So that's the thing that's going to allow NASA to get to the moon after like 50 years or something. But it just magically vanished the other day, and it was called a capstone.
Oh wow.
It just disappeared when CERN turned on. And then the capstones of the whatchakalls and that monolith thing both got destroyed.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and something in Asia was
And the gas station that just got blown up over in I can't remember it was all over the internet earlier.
I missed that
Kind
one.
of interesting stuff.
Oh, I know.
Kinetic energy.
I've been checking in like every hour because freaky shit's happening all over the world, and I'm just wondering if people are noticing.
Well, if they're playing with the electromagnetic grid spectrums and things, you're gonna have oscillations in the atmospheres. Obviously, you can't throw boulders into a pond without making waves in the environment.
Right.
And that's sort of how the quantum physics of the butterfly effect and things sort of ripples.
Mm-hmm.
You can set me down if you want to. All I see is the glare of your TV.
Oh, you don't see anything? I didn't know if you could
I
see the
just-
chat or anything.
No, that's
it's
you don't
just
have to hold it up. It's a
bright
it'll
light
get-
for
it'll
him.
get-
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you could see the chat and everything, but guess not.
No,
Well, that sucks. Here, I'm going to put you here so you're talking to us.
Yeah, I'll just sit here and talk to you all anyway.
Okay, cool.
They know I'm here. It's all fine and good, so we can actually talk to each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of thing, anyway. So.
Yeah, I know. I was looking at you in my phone. It's kind of weird.
They can hear me, I guess.
Yeah, they can hear you good.
Yeah, they can hear.
Yeah.
We're having some technical difficulties. This is what we got to work with.
I know.
The fancy phrase is adapt and overcome, boys and girls. Sometimes we got to jump through some hoops to be able to talk to each other.
I know,
Hope
exactly.
everybody's doing all right.
Yeah.
We'll try to stay in a positive light, even though the world is collapsing around us.
Yeah, exactly. We're trying so hard. Yeah.
What all you all want to get into? We talk about all sort of weird stuff.
Let's talk about all the weird stuff.
Weird stuff.
That's been happening current wise.
What isn't weird stuff?
I know.
Man, it's the 2020s, man. I thought the roaring 20s was going to be a whole different kind of, we'd be all like,
Oh, yeah.
Suits and ties, a little gothic, maybe, but
Flappers.
this place is a mess.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a mess, and it's only getting worse.
It's not nearly as fun as the last 20s.
Mm-mm. No.
Well, the fancy phrase is time of chaos brings evolution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Those of us that walk the tougher path have stronger legs, as the phrase goes. So I guess if we're here, we can work with what we've got to work with. Kind of like trying to get this conversation going.
Yeah. So what do you think about those cows and stuff? What do you think happened to them?
How about them cows?
How about those cows? Let's start with those current affairs and weird things.
Well, it's not just the cows. It's
I
been
know.
the birds. It's
Yeah.
been the fish. It's been the lambs in Ireland or whatever that is, and all sorts of different spectrums. But it's kind of
Even
like
fish falling from the sky. But that's usually like,
That's normal.
yeah, that's like
Just
I mean, it's not normal.
water getting sucked up out of the ocean.
Don't mind me.
It's all good.
I was charging one of my laser systems, and I had to put my battery back in my laser. So,
What color is your laser?
which one?
I know. We have green and blue.
I like to go with green. Speaking of that specifically, you know how much I love to talk about the photonic anomaly platforms and things.
Mm-hmm.
The color of a laser will determine what the laser is capable of doing. If you look into this, it's called germ teleportation devices. And if you look into there's a school actually that has a branch of its classes is a bunch of scientists that are basically studying the photonic electromagnetic spectrums of the categorization of lasers, tractor beams, the ability to heal or destroy materials, and teleportation, fiber optic communication platforms, and all this shit that is involved with photonic transfer of electricity and electromagnetic spectrums and the cognitive relationships to your environment, et cetera. But the color of a laser does make a difference on what it will do. And green specifically is best suited for germ transfer platforms. Like if you look up germ teleportation devices and you look through it and you see that it's green laser, and they could send a genetic spectrum from one platform, being a tree, to another tree, and make the second tree produce the genetic platforms of the first tree just from a photonic transfer platform.
Wow.
Really?
If you really want me to back out of this, it might pull my face down again, but no. It didn't sound like I meant it, but I can go in and find the links for anything I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know you can.
I totally found it wrong. Excuse me.
Wow, that's really amazing.
That's
I
awesome.
did not know that.
You can also disable the.
It's plasma technology and photonic transfer and of our observable realities, much less the electromagnetic grid patterns, are all being manipulated around us in some form or fashion. Now, if you figure if there's technologies like we were talking the other night, I'm just running off a subject. I know we didn't really, whatever, but from what we were talking about a couple nights ago, and it takes a bit to even get started in these conversations. If you look how the neutrino experimentation platform works, you can study time, space, multiple dimensions, and actually communicate through gravity and all of these spectrums through like the D-wave technologies and laser technologies and ice cube, deep underground neutrino experimentation and things like that. How do I know this stuff? First off, because some of that stuff was used with the military, and other stuff like that was involved with how the technology worked and the equipment that Polk County, Tennessee stole from me when I was in the cannabis testing industry. Just throwing it out there again, just for throwing it out there again.
Oh, people are still saying free
people
Larry
are
shit.
still saying free Larry shit
I
in
think
the
they
chat.
hashtagged it. I think it's a hashtag now.
It's a hashtag, free Larry shit.
To get back to that before I trip myself on all kinds of things, what that did was I could have you spit in a little sample cup, right? And within 3 to 5 minutes, it uses basically the equivalent of the satellite systems that NASA used to study the rocks on other atmospheres of other countries and things that's going on. I had that in a handheld device where it was designed specifically to test for cannabis. It was top of the line for its time, which is now 5 years old. But basically what that did was I could study you in an analytical platform, and not from me doing it, but equipment that would do it if you put it in a series of certain devices and link them together, like through my digital I was talking about. I could have your materials in front of me, stick your shit in the little thingy, and you watch everything I'm doing, cameras like this while I'm talking to you, and you would literally have a live platform as I'm doing all your analytical platform to your cannabis. And I could find out if there's metals in it, if there's contaminants, if someone's trying to poison you. I can test your water, your air, your soil, and all those spectrums of everything you've got going on in your industry of the cannabis platform that you're doing. Is there mold spores? All that shit, I had it.
Yeah.
And Polk County, Tennessee decided to set up bullshit and steal all my shit.
I know, I was so pissed about it.
I could match your cannabinoid biometrics to a plant in the strains. There's thousands of strains, and each one does something different. And all those things with a compatibility platform with how your biometrics, your water, your energies, all that shit. I figured all that out. I figured out a long time ago that you can basically reverse the spike proteins of this Rona bullshit that they came out. And ironically, about the time that they did that, by the way, I feel completely that they actually bought the Rona platform and dispersed it to stop the riots, because we were all meeting each other and pissed off. And, if you think back to the China platform, stopping everybody from going anywhere, I'm pretty confident in Harvard that it was set up to stop the riots, because we were all meeting and talking to each other.
Yep. I agree.
And we were figuring out, why are we all mad? Well, anyway, to get back to the point, I had figured out that the spike proteins and the cannabinoid platforms of your biometrics, if it has a virus attached to it, I could counter that with the compatible cannabinoid platforms through one of the thousands of strains and how it affects your biometrics, and then send you to that farm within 3 to 5 minutes. And I was setting up a network of how all of you would be able to have a third-party testing, which is entirely legal in Tennessee, by the way. And I got licensed through the state of Tennessee just to try to help. So, not trying to get back into that, but
no, you should always get into that, because I think we need to get some press or something to make some shit happen. Something.
I've got a bullet hole through my front door that goes to the back of my home. I've got several others to match, and still to this day, not one cop has ever come to my house to pull a bullet up to see what kind of gun it was that fired at me.
Yep.
My home's been set on fire. I'm attacked. People's pulling up in my property full of boonhauers. You think trying to do their shit, and if you wonder why I'm mad, well, this is just a few days out of my life, and I've fucking had it. So, again, not trying to get into all that. People have to kind of understand why I'm pissed and what I was trying to do. All I was trying to do is help you all.
Well, they want to stop us helping people at all costs, really. And that's part of like what all this YouTube war against us is, to silence us, because a lot of these people are nurses and, all kinds of levels of involvements of trafficking. The medical industry itself are involved in human experimentation, these pharmaceutical companies,
Yeah.
they don't want people who have wisdom to teach people how to heal themselves, and we can still, use science like you have, to perfect it. They don't want that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in the chat, somebody put weed in their microwave. Don't ever put weed in your microwave.
Don't
That's a
microwave
terrible
weed.
idea. It cooks
No,
things from the inside out. and that's
Actually,
not what
Well,
we
it
want.
changes
you should
the-
not use a microwave for anything you intend to ingest
No.
because to give you an idea, I used to work in import-export. You ever kind of wonder, like, all these trucks get microwaved with radiation platforms so they can do x-rays and shit on them.
Mhm.
That is actually
you,
altering
Thank
the
you.
molecular biometrics of it.
Mhm.
That's in a sense the same thing as putting it through a microwave, and it will destroy or alter the neuropathic or the subatomic platforms of all those things.
Yeah, it changes it molecularly. So the
why
human
there's
body
such
can't
thing
even
called a
digest
ray
it
gun.
the same. Do what?
That's why there's such a thing called a ray gun. Tesla's time they called it the death ray.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do that to anything that you're going to ingest, you're basically altering your gut bacteria to whatever that spectrum of how you did that mutation platform. It's kind of a similar idea of like people using microwaves for everything. It's probably a similar aspect to what's in your soaps. It's actually in your water. What's in your toothpaste? What's in your fillings in your teeth? I was going to school to be a dentist once upon a time.
Yeah.
And if you wonder if you have mercury in the amalgam, the fillings that's in your teeth, that's probably that black shit that's in there.
Mm-hmm.
It not only is the mercury going to microdose, but when you have chlorinated water, they put the fluoride shit in there. It causes mercury chloride microgassing. That's basically every single day when you get up and brush your teeth. However many times you brush your teeth, you're microdosing yourself with whatever's in the toothpaste, plus the fluoridated water, and whatever's in the water. As an example, they can't get rid of the pharmaceuticals, nuclear materials, or it's like you got lead and all kinds of shit that's going through the waters.
Mm-hmm.
The sex change drugs and a complete program that they've put in place to dumping sex change hormone drugs into the water. And you wonder why all these people around don't even know if it's a fucking boy or a girl nowadays. Hate to hurt your fucking little feelings, little millennials, but it's you got what's down there. That's what you are.
Yep.
Yeah.
They need to stop doing this shit with kids. That just hurt me. As some of the things that you all expose and things like that, it just irritates every blasting shit out of me. Just people trying to manipulate a child into becoming some sort of anything altering to its natural path.
Oh, yeah.
Just put it that way.
To
shit is
deny,
just
its own physical makeup.
That's not a reflection of how the kid should be. That's the reflection of what's wrong with someone who's trying to alter a child from their natural evolution.
Yeah, and what's wrong with?
Would you be trying to take a 5-year-old and put him into a drag queen's outfit? I mean, Halloween's one thing. I love Halloween, but that shit just hurts me.
Oh, I know.
Anyway, I don't know what all you want to get into, but
Well, that's part of one of the things that we're investigating and finding things right now is we accidentally stumbled upon basically catalogs of trans kids and famous kids.
Wasn't there a school where they had an after-school thing where the football coaches and all the kids in the football team and most pretty much just boiled lap dances for the teachers and shit?
Do what?
You all did a
You
video.
were breaking up.
There was a video a while back of there was school teachers that had an after-school thing. They had all the football boys and the soccer boys and everything come in and dress up as girls and give the teachers lap dances and shit.
Oh
I
yeah.
saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was in Kentucky.
Was it?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
That was in
Kentucky's a fucked up
Kentucky.
place.
I think it may have even been Corbin. I don't know. I was like, I was kind of close to them fucking Kentucky boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's your sign, people.
Mhm.
What do they not show? And if they'll do this on live fucking cameras,
Mhm.
I'm just saying. I mean,
Well, yeah,
there's
exactly.
something wrong with some of these.
Mhm.
With that, who polices the police, and who monitors what the teachers are doing around all your kids?
I know.
You know, they give your kids laptops and Wi-Fi links and cameras and all this shit so they can peek through school.
Hmm.
But who polices all that? Who monitors all that? When they turn the cameras on, all the electronic transactions. For all you know, because they run the systems, they could be turning the cameras on those laptops anytime.
Anytime, yeah, absolutely.
If they own rights to the device, how do you know when they're not listening to music in the bathroom, they're not turning the cameras on the whole fucking time and logging it? With that, just to throw it out there, you know, I have this thing for cops anyway, but I get the point of some of the aspects. But explain to me why police unions run child pornography sites on the internet to catch people going to child pornography sites on the internet if it's not supposed to be on the internet in the first place.
Right,
Just throwing that out there.
right.
Just saying.
And then when people like us catch predators and you don't ever see them get arrested, there's that too.
There's
It's not
way
a
too much
priority,
of the
but-
so-called Department of Justice protecting criminals, and that
Right.
ties a lot back to do with my house. But when it gets asked, then that we talk about good stuff like physics and why things are blowing up and shit like that. There's no need for me to get all pissed off.
Yeah, I
We try to have
know.
a positive evening.
Let's have a
trying to-
positive evening.
I'm not trying to play with the troll situation right now. I'd rather just have a decent conversation.
Oh, I know, exactly. Well, you know, I told you about
That's
this.
water, by the way, if any of you are wondering.
They can't see you. That's
Yeah,
just me
I was
and
gonna-
Xander.
Oh,
You're drinking
it's all good.
water.
I don't
Yeah.
drink anything but water. For
They
the most
probably don't
part.
care what you're drinking anyway.
Yeah, they don't care.
Well,
We're
I've
just
got
glad
a
to
big
hear
sticker in
from
my
you.
bus that says marijuana safer than alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't used anything except for maybe something in a substance or whatever, but I don't use alcohol at least a decade or so ago. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just an object.
Mhm.
Just stop picking it up. You know?
Yeah,
Just saying.
this is true.
So anyway, what do you want to get into?
Let's talk about
See my
CERN
language.
and what you think it has to do with the whole human trafficking thing. There's a connection between the two. What do you think that is?
Get into the what?
Well,
There's what?
there's whole ritual and trafficking surrounding like CERN. Do you think it's all for just human experimentation, or do they use the souls as energy? Like, what's going on with all of that kind of side of the CERN side?
I obviously am not in CERN, so I don't know what in the everlasting shit CERN's actually doing. But if they're doing what they're talking about doing, I sort of understand the basis of some of those platforms that gets into what they could be doing. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
Keep in mind, I'm doing all this with brain damage and shit, so I have a little trouble retaining some things to get into a category.
I know you do best when you're just in a flow.
Well,
Yeah,
I like playing videos during these just to break it up and to give people more like visual shit to look at than our faces. So if there's any like at any point with any subject, if there's like a video that you can think of off the top of your head that you want me to pull up, I can pull it up and stream it.
you have to kind of put a lot of different conversations in place on what can be done with electromagnetic fluctuation platforms and devices that are involved with the photonic transfers of genetics, the dark matter manipulation of basically what is dark body entities, which is space around us. What we call space is the expansion of things that have existed and the ideas between all of them, and the involvement of a network of a neuropathic ending multiverse of the consciousness within what used to be, but still retains space. If you think about it, a way to kind of put it in your head is imagine me standing on one of my rocks in my yard, flipping you the bird. Now put that in your mind, and that has a place in your mind. Later down the road, you're going to remember me thinking about me being in that little rock and whatever you imagine that to be. flipping you the fucking bird. Ah.
Right.
So that memory has space, though it doesn't actually exist. It does exist.
Right.
What CERN is doing is subatomically, actually beyond subatomically, is what they're doing. Is they're like micro analyzing the beyond subatomic platform of dark matter.
Yeah.
What that comes into is dark matter as a soul. If you look up the origin of the atom bomb and things like that, it took the demon core to make it a high explosive at the platform it needed to be. Look up the word demon core, atom bomb, you'll figure out what I'm talking about. It took something like a couple grams of dark matter or something. It's on the internet. It must be true. You know.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
By the way, everything I'm talking about is public information. So
Right.
I own a cannabis lounge. I smoke weed all day and I cuss. If you don't like this, arrivederci.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm playing the video where they're all dancing at CERN in the background of this.
cheesy,
It's the happy video.
the cheesy
You know what I'm
CERN
talking about?
video, the commercial they made.
Fucking ridiculous.
Well, if those are actually real people, it would almost seem like maybe it was a catalyst to get the oscillation of the specific flow of like the seaweed.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to have sort of an oscillation, and you need a certain amount of actual individuals to start a fluctuation platform of the Fibonacci spiral of whatever that is. You got to be sending some sort of a regular fluctuation, kind of like shamans singing together, Native Americans singing together.
I see what you're saying. This is more of like a stupid. I'd be surprised if this was starting a Fibonacci circle with this, because
they do the whole Shiva thing though with all the arms.
they do that. Yeah,
It's cheese ball symbolism.
I'd say more of what you're talking about. The opening ceremony deal. That
Oh, the
might be part of
satanic
what you're saying.
ritual that they did.
Yeah.
It could be just a cognitive static starting fluid for the circumstances. If it is a plasma flux device and such, it would maybe need some sort of this is us, hello, a handshake. It's actually, when you get into the quantum platforms like that, it's called a handshake.
Yeah.
And, you have to, there's the key holders and you have the controllers and you have it's just like society, it's the same, I guess the same aspect, but
There's some big connection between missing
they're-
people though and
they've
particle
got the
physics.
X particle. The X particle is the subatomic observation at a singularity of the consciousness, attaching it to an atomic platform. At the singularity, it's called the X particle. They've already done this. Look up X particle. They didn't have another name for it, but it is actually the consciousness at a singularity. They have figured out the Higgs boson, which is the dark matter at a singularity, and they can put that with that. And they're running oxygen through these things. And all sorts of different things, sand or whatever, and smashing together, see what happens, what kind of spark. And they're studying the plasma fields with that. That could be a good thing and a bad thing. It depends on who's holding the fucking keys, kind of like any circumstances, obviously. But the interesting thing is CERN is only one of the rings of devices like that. Yeah. It's only one.
Yeah,
as I said the other day, you look up China, Asia built one at 64 miles across. And there's I'm not trying to throw everything under the bus, and obviously don't know everything, but I know enough to know that shit's there.
Right.
So if there's a little bit there, we see this much, there's got to be much more.
Yeah.
So, but if they can, if I say if they can do this at a subatomic platform, and we all know that we're walking energy and antennas, that kind of goes to show that there's not much of any reason why they wouldn't be using Operation Fishbowl, which is the atmosphere wall around us that they created with all these high altitude detonations and things they've done. So they put us in a bubble. That's what HARP's for. That's kind of what these neutrino platforms are for, because you can use them to communicate back and forth through time. So if they've got a fluctuation platform, I'm not there. I'm just saying what this stuff could be doing. I mean, if you could send energy, and there's teleportation devices, you could send signals back and forth through time in multiple dimensions, and they're openly doing it. Then,
Have you ever been in a jump room?
You talk about hollow portation rooms. It's kind of like asking somebody when they're unconscious, what did they know they were unconscious? until they
Right.
question if they were unconscious. And,
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Everything that could be a
Well,
location.
there's people who
About it,
claim to
you
have been in
Operation
jump rooms
Fishbowl.
that say that they've been in jump rooms. So I
I
guess
know how they work.
Huh?
I mean, I know how they work.
Right.
You can look it up. Hollow portation.
Mm.
One room, like take out teleportation,
Mm.
hollow, like holographic. You'll figure out that there's all kind of devices that goes with Project Bluebeam.
Right.
If we have the Simulex world simulation system, where it's basically a mirror multiverse that is a holographic reality around us right now. If you have the magic glasses or the magic contact lenses, and you can manipulate with all of these things and do all that stuff. If we don't have the magic glasses, we're not cool enough to see the video game world around us unless they want to play with us.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I mean, if they've had time displacement patents and all these different things for who knows how long, who knows what's real. All knows we're here today and we're talking.
What do you think the hunt for the genetics is? If they really just want to
The
become
platforms want the
fully
singularity so they
synthetic
can- they
AI?
the artificial intelligence platforms and some of these dark black ops, I guess you could say, it's different things. It seems that they're trying to map not only the consciousness of what's here, but what has always been here. So you can figure out the realities of the multiverse and what's, like, it's like your phone's a Ouija board, but we still need to understand everything that's in the pond around us instead of just looking through the little glass, our little pixel of looking glass technology here.
Mm-hmm.
It's, who knows? I mean, it almost seems like if you open up one portal, it would open all the portals to let the wind go through the cave and the cavern. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If they're transferring particulates, they would have to pull dark matter through, and that might be where some of these black goo situations and all that might be coming from. I mean, you'd have to pull from a darkness if you're going to do teleportation platforms and photonic transfers. Who knows? Who knows what else going on out there? Like I said before, there's Project Millennials where they were colonizing the galaxies.
Right.
Project Pegasus, Project Cantaloupe. I'm playing in my garden.
Delicious.
Project Watermelon. That's probably a project.
Probably.
No, I mean, you just kind of put all these stories together and kind of figure it out on your own.
Yeah, you kind of do.
That's why we're all here at the table and we're all questioning what in the everlasting fuck is going on here.
I know.
So
I'm just
things
always
are
trying to
definitely
figure out what they're doing with the people. Are they fueling like ships? What the hell? Like, why are there so many missing people? And then that's not even, counting the undocumented people. It's like on average 2,000 people go missing per day. Granted, some get found, some are relatives snatching up, an abused kid or something and running with it. But I mean, man, come on. 2,000 kids.
Colonizing the galaxy, you're going to have somebody to send out there. And if we're opening portals to other dimensions, and you can mess with people's minds while they're standing there and not even let them think that there's something or someone standing next to them because you can manipulate their brainwaves.
Mhm.
I mean, there's who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, a lot of it's consumption on
Mhm.
platforms and milking and coming up with covert operators. What do they call it? Farming, people farming.
Yeah.
There's the blood harvesting. There's organ harvesting, stem cell harvesting. If you look up Stephen Hawking, I think it was Spaceborg, and a guy like Elon Musk. He was Asian descent. Again, one of those rich people like that. They sent genetics, big air quotes, and artificial wombs linked to AI that's tied to the artificial intelligence platforms, and they sent those artificial wombs into deep space to, I believe it was Zeta Reticuli. Search that into Google, you'll see it. Stephen Hawking not only put his own genetics into his own satellite so he could become part of the hive mind, but they're sending wombs with AI, intelligence, and quantum computer mind controller platforms linked into these Starlink and Neuralink platforms, and they're colonizing space in all sorts of aspects, and apparently been doing it at least since I found a link in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Where there's a guy, a light-haired guy, talking in a campus setting, and he's talking about they created Project Millennials, where they were basically colonizing space. Well, if they can microwave you and make you think you'll do anything at any point in time, you're on a date and all of a sudden you pick your nose, or something stupid, they can make you do any damn thing at any time.
Okay, so what is this womb like? Do they use like aborted
Stephen
babies, or they fertilize their own genetic babies?
No, I think he was saying they're sending wombs with AI.
Stephen Hawking with AI platforms, and I think it was Facebook, and somebody like Elon Musk invested, I think it was like $70 million into a platform to put genetics into artificial wombs.
Wombs in space.
It hits in. Somewhere through there, you'll find it. Stephen Hawking sends artificial wombs with AI and stem cells into space to colonize the galaxies. And he had his own genetics put into his own satellite. So he is one of these assistants that comes into these quantum computers.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap.
Beings. It's called ghost in a shell technology. Ghost in a shell technology. If they can do that, they can put human consciousness into a droid, and that steps into patent 060606, where they can modify 1% of you and make you a patentable commodity. Soon your children will not know what the word freedom is. Very soon. If you have children at all.
Wow.
Anyway, society that is, anyway.
I did not know about space wombs. Wow. Hey, do you think that's part of the quantum computer stuff?
But wait, there's more. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. That's why they took all the gold from the Twin Towers, so they'd have enough gold to link all of these things, at least to the atmosphere, and use it as a motherboard. They can link all these things, that they can spackle gold particles and modify the metal particulates in all of their bodies.
As a network.
Cootie shots.
Yeah.
These cootie shots that might be altering the mental platforms of your genetics, so they can send signals and resonant frequencies for mind control platforms through those metal platforms and the nanotechnology systems that are in place. Hey, little one.
You're supposed to be in bed. Say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
All right. I'll be right back. But Xander will keep talking.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
I was going to go smoke a cigarette.
Oh, no, you
But I didn't want to just like leave him. I was going to find a video or something to play because I usually do that about now. I don't know. I've been looking at all this like CERN live bullshit. They have a bunch of live cameras all the time.
I was going to say, anybody in there got any questions or whatever for the meantime?
They probably do. Let me look. I haven't been reading the chat.
One of them told me I looked hot.
Well, right on, man. There you go. There's your next StreamYard date. Tinder, Facebook stream date. Oh, somebody said.
Hey.
Yeah, I know, Xander.
Hey, you can still catch
your phone in.
You can probably still catch a virus if you cyber date them.
Probably.
Did you hear me?
No.
You go in through your phone, and then I'll just walk outside with the phone, and we can still stay on here and go outside.
I was gonna find a video, but somebody did say,
space womb.
Does Larry think that are you listening?
Yeah.
Not you.
Oh.
Me?
Yeah.
Does Larry think that the Schumann resonance is gradually elevating to take us to the fifth dimension, like Einstein's relativity theory suggests?
Well, it depends on if your genetic code can resonate with the spectrums. You can't get into a portal if the portal won't resonate with your platform. Technically, each one of you is a walking portal platform. It depends on what your resonance frequency is. But if they're trying to manipulate the frequencies, they can oscillate those genetic spectrums to make you think in all sorts of different directions.
So
as far as
the genetic frequencies, that goes back to what you and I were talking about earlier today. We were talking about Bigfoot and, the sprites and the mountain lights and things like that. Do you think they're attracted to specific genetic like frequencies or tones that are produced through a certain person?
Everybody's essence puts off a specific frequency,
Mhm.
kind of like your hair being a part of your aura. And your
Right.
aura is basically at the subatomic platform of the X particle and the Higgs boson in a essence of your aura. All that stuff has been micro-analyzed down to the subatomic platform, and they're going beyond that right now with CERN.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But it's kind of like the birds can know where their nest was if they've flown halfway across the country and come back to wherever they came from because they resonate with that place. Sort of like how animals will mark their territory in a sense. You have a place that feels like home at an electromagnetic spectrum.
Right.
So with all of that, it seems that all of those platforms are even milkable.
Right.
As in like soul eaters and electromagnetic energy and all those sort of things. But
the Smoky Mountain's full of that kind of stuff. Like, I didn't really realize how many kids talk about crazy things in the Appalachians. They talk about rakes and all kinds of stuff. And kids are really in tune to, the environment.
Children resonate in a whole and different cognitive platform than adults.
Yeah.
They still have some of that essence of wherever they came from, in a sense. But if you look into the electronics side of things, all of these things are mapped and all that. And there was a guy, I think it was Missing 411.
Yeah.
That did some research that there was a group of us that were doing some stuff. I'm not obviously trying not to take any credit for what was figured out, but it was figured out through the process of everybody kind of coming to the table that technically, like when you mow your lawn and it sends off a signal of that smell of cut grass, we all recognize that. The trees will recognize through the roots and through the essence of the cut grass sending off that signal through the atmosphere,
right,
that there's something doing damage here, and that puts off a pheromone in a sense. So kind of like what they do with the adrenochrome platforms, there's a pheromone that comes off when someone has been abused. Let's just go with, or if someone's been killed or something, the signal
right,
sent off at a subatomic platform. There's cameras that you can actually see someone's handprint at a crime scene and their footprints and their if there's coughing or blood, or it'll show up like a black light on this sort of like a LiDAR technology. I can't think of what it is right now, but it'll literally show the shadow of where your hands have been and things like that. They use in the crime investigations. There's satellites that can ping on that. It's called a magnetic anomaly detection platform. And it was figured out that the Missing 411 platform, all of those pings of where those people came up missing, all left a signal. And it could be tied with the satellite networks that can go back and replay all those signals. Like I told you all before, that there's that guy that specifically I was talking about that can replay the tornado at a photonic platform.
right,
They can replay these satellite systems to go back where someone has been abused, let's just say, or a crime has happened. And there's actually disaster recognition software and human activity recognition software where they could put all these systems together and go back where something happened and solve that crime. Back to the point to where they can see the footprints of where someone went and tie that into the phone, the computer, all the electronic transactions, because every electronic transaction leaves an electronic trail. They have to communicate. So someone explained to me, just with what I just said, why they're missing people,
exactly,
missing children, POWs, and unsolved crimes.
right,
If they can do this, and they have Stingray technology where they can go back into all of your electronic platforms and see what you've ever done or thought about. Not to mention the satellite skull technologies where they're mapping all of your brains and the thoughts that used to exist in the space around us. But they're still letting us sit here and argue about dumb shit.
yeah.
So again, as I was saying before, I'd like to know when the military, specifically the National Guard, is going to guard the nation.
Yeah, we're wondering that too.
So with that, someone contact their National Guard office and ask them, when are you all going to look into the missing children? They say there's 800,000 of them. So many should be from this neighborhood. And again, like the little girl missing up that way, Summer Moon, and as an example in my area, I always throw out there justice for Kelby Fritz.
Mhm.
She was an 18-year-old girl that, things happened and she ended up getting dumped at a fucking hospital parking lot somewhere. That's bullshit. But that was part of your family. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
They can go back into these fucking systems and solve all these crimes that we're sitting here arguing with each other about.
Right.
But
Exactly.
they don't. Someone tell me why they don't.
Exactly.
Just saying.
There is absolutely no reason that they can't solve
So
these crimes.
If the National Guard's job is the oath to protect the citizenry from all enemies, both foreign and domestic, and we have these rogue platforms that are just milking us, literally,
Yep.
and they're violating the citizenry in order to do their platforms, that is a treasonous act and all their political platforms.
Right.
If you commit any crime in a political platform, you are to be removed from your public capacity, put in your private capacity, and held accountable for your actions or lack thereof.
Right.
So again, National Guard, when you're going to step in and do something with these rogue cops and motherfuckers that's just milking society and ruining our lives when we're just trying to mind our own business?
Mm-hmm.
When are y'all going to do something about these missing kids and unsolved crimes?
Mhm.
If you have this technology to do these things otherwise,
Exactly.
we can know about a subatomic platform on something in another galaxy, but we've got children being tortured in somebody's fucking dungeon somewhere or something.
Yep.
Just saying.
I know.
It shouldn't exist. It shouldn't exist. And I always try to throw it in there in the conversation. No. Shouldn't exist.
No,
Yeah,
it
but-
shouldn't. No, it should not exist ever.
One day somebody's going to come along and flip that switch and the know-all button's going to get exposed regardless, because all these systems are going to backfire.
Yeah.
Like DARPA, been around since the Eisenhower era. The first human activity recognition software satellite was Sputnik. Come on, people. We've known about the Planck theory of holographic realities within the aura and quantum physics. I've got books in here 100 years ago talking about how you can send a fluctuation to someone and just entirely play with an entire. When are they going to do something?
I know.
We shouldn't have to deal with this.
I know.
Nobody should have to do with wrongdoing being done on someone else.
I know. We're pretty much at the point of actually having enough for the National Guard, going to different level, and
But if your local Department of Justice is incompetent,
mhm,
it seems autonomous that if a federal level placed in a state platform, National Guard,
mhm.
or even federal agents, U.S. Marshals, and we're sitting here talking about this and we're giving you a platform of how you can solve all these problems, why don't you go do it?
Mhm.
Right.
If you're listening to this, go do what we're talking about.
I mean, the
Go
people
look
paid
into
for
it. Go
all
research it
that
and question it.
technology. Yeah.
You know that there's some alphabet soup sitting out here going, that's the. You hear that?
You hear Larry? Oh, Larry's on one tonight, boy.
Come on, man. I mean,
No, I
we have
know.
hundreds of thousands of covert ops just around to fuck shit up.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, if we have these platforms to know when there's rogue government platforms destroying people's lives, you're going to have to come in and fix that. Or you're going to have a scenario like my place where just shit's going to happen one day and it shouldn't have had to.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Not to get back into that, but shit's just going to have to happen if it ain't going to be done right.
Right.
Just saying.
Mhm. Well, I think
I'm not very good at digressing.
I think they're about to starve people out. Like, we're all about to be
Oh,
hungry.
yeah. There's a depression being put in place where they're fucking with the import-export platforms and they're
Mhm.
giving everybody the stage fright with the cooties bullshit. But a lot of countries have shut down their import-export and just basically taking care of their own.
Right.
I've been told that there is a new Great Depression that's taking place with Operation Bluegrass, and I think it's Operation Moonshot. Operation Bluegrass was put in a place where it put FEMA in charge of Washington, D.C., basically back in 2018. It was during Trump. So I'm not a Trump fan. Don't even get me started on that one because I don't like him. I don't like any of them.
I don't like any of them. I don't trust any of them.
Well, remember Standing Rock, and remember who sent the damn cops from Lake County, Indiana to come after me when I was supposed to have been at Standing Rock. And Vegas. We can get into Vegas too if you want. But anyway, calm down.
Calm down.
The point behind it for these things, I guess, is there should be no reason for people to be ill because we know how to fix everything on a medical platform. And there's a lot of this. They're stopping medical people from naturally giving people healing information. Think back to Dr. Sebi. They killed him in New York. And he figured out to cure any diseases, any viruses, anything like that by figuring out how to reset your stem cell platforms and your glands and your mucus and everything and work with your gut bacteria. All those things play in together. For some reason, people trying to heal other people, it's just a big no-no.
Oh, it's a huge no-no.
It's unacceptable.
Well, look at Dr. Jennifer Daniels, who produced all the studies from the internal use of food-grade turpentine and how it killed Candida.
They didn't like that at all.
They did not like that. She had to leave the country. They took away her license, and she they were going to kill her, but she left the country.
She's still gone.
No, yeah, she's still gone.
No, she's still making videos.
What they used
she
to
still
do
makes
with the women,
videos.
and I think it was DuPont, and all their hands would glow in the dark because they had to do something with the phosphorescent paint or something back in the day. I think it was regular paint.
Oh, that's fun.
That's fun.
They actually glowed in the dark.
Wow.
I can't remember what it was. It was a DuPont or some kind of paint company that
they were invited to all the parties.
No, there's these things going on. It just still it amazes me in a sense that they can blatantly do all these things to society, but they just let everybody keep arguing and fighting over the dumb stuff.
It amazes me that people aren't just coming together. It just blows my mind. Everyone's arguing more and more drama, more just bullshit. And there's so many real things that need to be addressed,
Well, like you were talking about earlier, you mentioned the sprites and fairies and Sasquatch, and remember I was talking about the shaman aspect of how the indigenous couldn't see the colonizers coming in a sense. There's a genetic platform that allows individual spectrums of a being, depending on their optical abilities through neuropathic transfers of their mind and consciousness and their spectrums of observation in a sense.
Yeah.
I'd mentioned to you all before, I think that they can take the stem cell platform of a compatible feline and inject the stem cell of that cat, feline, whatever, into a person, into their eyeball, and the stem cell platforms will mutate, and that person will get night vision on the abilities of what that cat can do. With that being said, I don't know if you know this or not, but women are stripy. Did you know that? Women are like zebras, like calico. Not you, but you. Only women have stripes. If you look, type it in. Women are stripy.
I have stripes, but I thought that was stretch marks.
Women have these stripes.
You got cool stripes.
I got some stripes.
Yeah, it's literally on a genetic spectrum. Women are like calico cats. You actually have different zebra stripe patterns on your body that can be seen in a certain light kind of thing.
Really?
Those genetic codes, in a sense, it means that we are compatible with felines. Otherwise, that stem cell transfer wouldn't work with our, let's say, super soldier platforms working in the tunnels. You know what I'm saying? So if you figure like a fish sees in a certain way, and fish have compatibility in a genetic platform with humanity, or there wouldn't be such a thing as the tens of thousands of patents involved with oceanic genetic stem cell spectrums that ties into the human genome. We look at the Human Genome Project. That's a neat one. Human Genome Project, where they're modifying all of your genetics going back to who knows how many decades ago, and it does involve Bill Bummer. So that's an interesting dive. But
so what do they do in these super soldier programs? I mean, is that one of the things that they inject cat, you know, genetics into your eye?
Well, here's a spoiler alert. If you've gotten into any of those titles and you've had any kind of a shot, you're a gen mod. Whatever your title would be and whatever your jobs would be, you would have mission oriented platforms to go with whatever that title is. And even if it is remotely, like a CRO, a controlled remote operations weaponry system, that can be done on a genetic platform. And the neat thing is somebody could be a sleeper and not even realize they're a sleeper.
Mm-hmm.
But they can do that with anyone now, not just someone in the military.
Mm-hmm.
This is all open information, obviously. But now anyone could be any spectrum of any of those jobs in genetic platform being resident to your genetic code. It can send a memory into you, have you go do something, and then pull that memory back out, and you won't know the wiser. So if you get into some of those things, like I was saying before, the feline genetics are compatible. You know, what happens when you put like tick DNA into your pupil? You end up, what's a tick do? You end up being able to track a specific bloodline a little better than the other, is what tick looks for blood. So if you add nanotechnology, then you got a remote controlled soldier.
Right.
So if they're sending metal into all of you and they can resonate that through a metallic spectrum, like they put a lot of iron in your body, and all of a sudden I don't like you, and I flip a microwave, I can turn that heat up, down at any time. You can send a resonance frequency to have that oscillate with your molecular biometrics at a quantum level through all the nanotech going through your body, like Constantine eye implant technology, where I could send holographic realities into your people, literally into your retina, and send that up to the quantum computer networks. Black Knight Satellite 1, NASA, Operation Paperclip, Nazis.
Did not see that coming.
Steroids. It's MK Ultra on steroids. They don't have to be shy anymore. I mean, if I know this, imagine what they know.
Oh, I know.
I say they, as in the fuckers up there sitting in their doodly office somewhere, probably in a high altitude airship, never have to touch the ground.
Yeah.
Playing fucking video games with all of our consciousness.
Yeah. Our little skyboxes.
But, you know, whether you like it or not, everybody, every single one of you has a dot on you. I guarantee you, every single one of you, whether you have a phone or you don't have shit, fucking homeless, you just farted, that biometric spectrum can go into a satellite.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with that, again, why is there missing children, POWs, unsolved crimes? Prove me wrong. What are they hundreds of thousands of satellites for? You to be able to have YouTube? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Somebody's going to come along and flip the switch, and all the no-no buttons is going to be displayed one of these days. In a sense, that's kind of what McAfee was talking about doing. I don't know if you know this or not, but John McAfee was in Tennessee.
Yeah. Yeah, we found that out
When
when
he
he
was
died. We were like, wait a minute.
Yeah. I didn't even know the guy was running for office.
It had something to do with Cott County, too.
I hadn't
There
figured
was
out. I
a
hadn't known any of this
Cosbonian
stuff
that
until
told
after he
us
died.
that they knew him or like his wife or something.
Mm-hmm.
It was weird.
That is a coincidence, but I happen to know that when all that shit went down, when McAfee fell off the grid, let's just say, who knows if that guy's faked his death. I don't know how many times. He's probably in drag somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Just say, hey, John McAfee, you're the man.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past him.
Hopefully he's not in Dubai with Epstein.
In drag.
Well, unlikely. My understanding is he's not a fan of that.
No, he's the one who flew the
But-
drone over Epstein's island.
Yeah.
But one thing I want to point out is all those laptops in DC were donated by McAfee.
Mhm.
So the
Mhm.
laptops that they went here to get that everybody keeps bitching about were McAfee's laptops. It was his property.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
let them use it in DC, and he put software in it that's called Ghost Protocol,
Mhm.
where he mirrored every clickety clack these motherfuckers been doing, and he put it into a know-all hive mind. And when he disappeared, all that was supposed to have been uploaded to the quantum computer network, so we would know what all's happened to everybody. And I think that's why he went kind of in hiatus. And I'd like to add that I know that when he did go missing, when he was in Tennessee, and I was here in Tennessee, coincidentally, the Trump administration was coming up from Texas, and the Biden administration was coming down from New York area, I believe it was. And they both were in Tennessee at the same time when McAfee went off the grid. What a coincidence.
Oh yeah, such a coincidence.
Hmm. Hmm.
Did you see where Elon was when he broke his
That
like
was
silence?
about the time that Nashville happened, by the way.
Yeah,
The bombing,
yeah.
air quotes, which wasn't a bomb. That was Gen 6 through 10 technology. They were taking out the quantum computer, and that Quincy, whatever his name is, worked in that computer. And I'll tell you right now, the fucking RV sitting across the street from the building when the Nashville Christmas thing happened, if it had been the RV, it would be a hole from the RV through the parking lot to the building.
Hmm.
It would have all been torn to shit. But no, the RV is sitting there across the practically perfect looking street. But it blew the fuck out of that building.
Yeah, I know.
Just saying.
Yeah, yep, that was shady.
Somebody's asking why they're spraying more than usual. I don't know if they are here, but
Whether what?
spraying the
Spraying
sky.
what? What are
Yeah.
you talking about?
Spraying
The trails.
just chemtrail stuff.
Starseed or the
This
Well, a lot of that's
this person says they're
probably
spraying constantly.
Well,
Why do you think they're
I
spraying
guess
more
they've
now?
noticed more recently in their area than usual. I don't know. I don't know where this person is, but
they could be putting genetically modified mosquitoes out,
yeah.
or they could be putting out any kind of a nanotech.
They drop so much shit, and
I mean,
private contractors can pay to drop shit on you too. It's just
well,
gotten
if
ridiculous.
they dump microfibers on you and that gets absorbed into your body, then you can be scanned easier based upon the resonance of the platform of like spraying something with reflective paint.
Mhm.
If you spackle something with reflective paint, use that as a nanodust particulate kind of thing, and it lands on you, you will be a moving particle. While other the original platform of layout, if you tie that into LiDAR technology where they can scan a 3D scan of all your environment at a ground level and just below or deeper, and all that subatomic photonic platform becomes a 3D, 6D-ish sort of platform where you can move around and they can track you based upon where you walk around.
Right.
If you figure that if they put a metallic spray onto an atmosphere and then they can send a resonant frequency to it, they can ping off of that along with your genetic coding. Like the masks were actually for putting a platform on your face, so facial recognition could link in with the genetic biometric spectrums and read that mask, see what's coming in and out of your lungs.
Is that what those little
mask
nano critter
for
worms were in
instance,
them?
There'd be no such thing as Middle East respiratory syndrome if mask works. If mask worked, all
Right.
it does, it's a coffee filter.
It's
That's
a copy. I know, but they had like living creatures that were activated by steam.
There's a caterpillar that excretes that parasitic black goo shit. I can't remember the name of it, but it's I found that right about the time you all were doing that thing with your mask.
Graphene oxide.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Graphene
like
oxide,
that,
yeah.
but it was something to do with a moth, and a moth would produce this sort of silk shit, and that silk shit would be attracted to an oxygen source.
Mhm.
Oh, that's Hannibal
Now,
Lecter shit playing in the basement, weirdo.
They've done some GenMod platforms where they're taking the genetics of a spider and integrated the genetics of a specific spider, into a specific goat, and had the specific female goat produce a milk that they could get a silk fiber from. And if you could integrate that with basically a controllable cat form. You make a man and then morph literally into whatever you want it to do, and micro does any kind of parasitic nanotechnology. Just attach it right onto that microbial platform. There you go.
So do you think the facilities that do this kind of stuff all have to have like some sort of nuclear?
Well, if it's never existed, it's not governed.
Right.
That's the neat thing about being an inventor. If it's never existed, nobody knows anything about it, and there's no restrictions.
Mm.
Now, again, with that, who's been running the U.S. Patent Administration since they killed Tesla? And where? New York. Who's been running the U.S. Patent Administration? Why don't any of you know that I invented an air-powered car back in the 90s? Why aren't you driving air-powered cars? Who is Guy Negra? He's one of the guys who helped steal my technology, but he's banned from bringing his cars to the United States. He was a Formula One racer. He's from France, I believe. And he's making air-powered cars that's sort of a spring off of what I was doing. So to get back into that, I had a company out of Florida. I was working with my patent administration, and I was on the phone with a place from, I believe it was Washington, D.C., Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Kentucky, and some other one somewhere. They were all on a call with me, and I was offered 2 truckloads of money, or I can look over my shoulder for the rest of my life. And obviously, I'm not rich, and you don't know who I am. So ever since then, that has been suppressed, and they have made my life basically a steamy pop ever since I was a kid. Hence, I'm kind of pissed.
Well, your whole life you've been targeted. You were kidnapped.
I was kidnapped from Tennessee when I was about 10 with the assistance of so-called family platforms, and I was taken to the Mexico border and all the way through Florida. And actually, one of my couple favorite memories was we figured out what this timeshare was. Like if you do stuff, you get stuff kind of thing that was coming. But got over to Florida and figured out that there was this place where if you go and you sit in a timeshare thingy and they can talk to you for an hour, and they get you to, and you don't buy shit. You don't buy nothing. You sit there and talk, and everything they do, whatever they do, and if you don't buy nothing, they'll give you tickets to Disneyland of all places.
Yeah, we did that once.
So we ended up into SeaWorld, and coincidentally, this band called Crisscross was there. The little kids used to wear their pants backwards and dumb shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
I, of course, was the only dirt-looking fellow there. But coincidentally, right about that time of that concert, I don't know if there's any communication platforms, but it's time-based, I guess. Shortly after about that time, I learned what the ocean was, and I learned what a buoy was, and apparently there's a couple, 2-3 sets of buoys off Cocoa Beach, and I figured out how to swim, what a buoy was in the ocean, and I met this thing called a bull shark that hit me in the back of my kneecaps. So for some reason, I genetically learned how to turn on water and got my ass back to the beach somehow, and it almost seemed like I was being discarded into the ocean, I guess you could say. But I don't know. It's like my whole life. It's been people coming along trying to trip me when I'm just after life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and my own little journey. It's ironic in this industry.
We're alike in that. My whole life.
So I'm used
targeted.
To people
wild
trying dumb shit. I know my conversation gets a little spicy from time to time, but it's stuff I have to talk about. So what all you want to get into anyway? Since you got me here.
They're asking about RH negative. I'll talk to you about RH negative blood.
Well, first thing I'll say is we ain't got no monkey blood.
I know. We're monkey free.
Monkey blood free, man. With that, I guess you could say that if there is a slice of humanity, that's probably, I guess, maybe one. One has Reese monkey genetics and one does not.
Right.
I guess there's a null, so there's no anything. So if you think about that from its perspective, there's a lot of, I can't remember all this shit. I'm not necessarily a library, but it seems that the spectrum of kind of like what you were talking about earlier with the other beings and the observable spectrums of reality. If you have that gene code, it's actually, I think it's considered to be the Merlin gene code, or I think even, I can't remember the rest of them, but it goes back to the basis of magic, and it seemed like magic because other people didn't understand how the fuck he did that. Well, one side of society has a resonance frequency and observable reality spectrum that these gen codes can't see. Like they have Reese monkey blood in their genetics. That means like you can see the cat's stem cell platform mutate. So they have that natural ability of being able to see how a Reese monkey sees. Now, we would not be able to see that spectrum. You know, some people like they could be driving down the road, listening to some deathcore or something, you know, whatever.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, one dude in the car, there's always that one dude or somebody or a chick or somebody be like, look, there's 15,000 deer over there. And you're like, where?
Where?
They just
I don't
know
see it.
it's there.
Yeah.
What the, you know, it's, some people have that gift, sort of like certain birds, you know, have the ability to see through water and micro vision, you know, it's totally different. It depends on what your biometric spectrums are. And your water, of course, and your blood types has a lot to do with it. They say your consciousness resides in your blood, but your memory is in your water. Water retains memory, but the blood is the consciousness. Okay, your dark body entities that are attached to the physical body, like your shadow entity, actually, there's more of your shadow than what you and I see of each other as our bodies. It's like a minute perspective of what's actually around you going on.
Right.
A river of this energy. Yeah. So it sort of makes sense. Like it's sort of like we're all in the same pond, but some fish recognize when the big fish comes around, and the other one just sits there and eats.
I'm amazed at how many Rh negative people that I meet.
Yeah.
Like, and because it's a rare blood type, but it's like we're drawn to each other. It's really strange.
I believe we are the third rarest blood type that exists right now, which means we're almost all gone.
Yeah, I know. Endangered species.
So I guess that's sort of the interesting side of it, is if they can map our genetics and brains and all sorts of everything that's happening, at least there's a log of these things throughout our existences, whether we're part of this matrix platform or it's just some fucking holographic video game, some dickbag with a Twinkie figured out in some other multiverse. Whatever, you know, at least there's.
Well, it's got parasites and viruses, that's for sure. Somebody get it out of here. Get it the fuck out of here.
Yeah. This motherfucker definitely needs a bath. Pretty bad.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, man.
Yeah. I need to douche this place. Douche it. Giant meteor. It's the only way. Giant meteor.
Hashtag douche the earth.
Douche it.
Fucking smoke through that, man.
No, seriously, mud flood.
Someone's going to have to come along and do something about these just blatant wrongdoings.
Dude, it's giant meteor. It's too much of a mess. There's too many.
It's almost impossible.
It's like
almost impossible to sit here and talk about this stuff and put it all on the table, even within a few hours. I mean, if it goes that, it's practically impossible to even start to explain how a lot of these aspects of shit that's going on around everyone blatantly.
I know.
All ties together.
I know.
But everybody got to kind of keep on keeping on. You know what I'm saying? You know.
Yeah. I'm gonna move back to the woods with the Wookiees and the sprites and the fairies and shit. It's a giant meteor incoming.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, like the hide and seek champion of the universe, the Sasquatch. If they resonate themselves, and if you really think about it, how many times have you nearly stepped on a snake and the motherfucker was like, "Look, motherfucker, I'm down here snaking." But you still stepping on that motherfucker.
Yeah.
We're looking off. You know, I guess it depends on how your observable cognitive static relationship to your environment and your situational awareness together with your abilities of your consciousness.
Yeah.
Do you really want to see a Sasquatch? You know, if you have that in your eyes and your resonance platform twinkles in your eye. The eye is the window to the soul. They say literally.
I love Sasquatch.
Hey man, I'm just saying, I'd nail a Sasquatch. That's just extra.
Right, that's hilarious.
Bring it on. Just saying.
Dude, you need to check out my friend Neardertron. Oh my God, he's in love with Sass.
That, boys and girls, is how the RH positive.
That is how that is.
Fucking hell, yeah.
Oh my God, Eric, you're so bad. You're so bad. No, Sasquatch is so cool, and man, whenever we were having,
I want to see a deathcore band of Sasquatches, man.
dudes, that
Somebody out there.
Wookiees like music, and they really like. Well, I mean, they like music on the stage for real. It's pretty funny.
Can you imagine?
Like Harry and the Hendersons is real shit, man.
Sasquatch headbanging. That's like the full bore.
No, it was more like like a bear would dance.
Music is a beautiful thing, man. I like metal myself, but it's more complicated and things. So
Sasquatch likes cedar flutes.
They say music soothes the savage beast. So
Yeah.
if you resonate, you ever seen those devices where you can plug these little diodes?
Yes, I share the videos of them doing that all the time. I want one of those devices where you just plug the tree in and you can hear its song.
Every subatomic platform of each one of you that are listening to this are resonating with this conversation, and it's becoming part of you right now. Okay, we are all resonating on this platform like a song. You ever listen to crickets slow down? That's a great one. They slow down the sound of crickets, and they call it the song of the angels or something. It's really cool.
Yeah.
But we resonate and play this song throughout time, space, and multiple dimensions. And all of these things, the neutrino spectrums and all the electromagnetic grids in your aura and all that shit is part of a song. We are through the galaxy,
Right.
making noise. Everything on here generally is making a noise that in turn becomes an orchestra called the rabbit turd spinning in the galaxy called Earth.
Yep.
But one cell can make a difference in a body. One person can make a difference on the planet. And realistically, we're all stuck on this rabbit turd together. We're gonna have to learn how to right the wrongs and live here generally in peace.
Oh, it's such a mess. It's gonna have to be the mud flood. I don't see a way of cleaning it up.
The purge of the galaxy is what it's gonna take. It's the dinosaurs need to come in and just do their thing.
Yeah. I want some T-Rex action.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the dragons are gonna come back. So
I do too. I want to feed the dragons. Feed the dragons.
We're bringing energies here, and they say the unicorn was actually a real being. It was 4 tons, and it was from Siberia.
Yeah.
It was in a sense a fuzzy trend. We call that where the feathers are oscillating in color. I guess so like peacocks or something. It was like a big fucking rhino.
Translucent. Well, not translucent.
Something like that. Yeah. It shifts color like that peace sign thing right there.
Iridescent.
They're opening up all these energies and expanding people's genetic platforms through a widespread, energy manipulation.
What do you think will happen to clones and all this like energy shifting? Because they don't resonate on the same kinds of frequencies.
Well, I'm trying to. That's my killer back here, the dog. He's slapping at his bowl like, will you shut up and put some stuff in here?
That's fine. Well, my phone is about to die again. Did you hear it go doo 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 doo?
Oh no.
Yep. It is almost dead. So go ahead.
What is the dog distracting me? What were you asking?
Oh, I was asking about clones. Like with all this going on, will they be the same or what do you think?
Well, there's stem cell platforms and hyper-realistic AI-infused remote controllable masks, and that's on the market. So hyper-realistic droids that are controlled by AI, and you can put stem cell platforms into a 3D printed, you know, cloning device, and you can basically transfer consciousness. How do you think teleportation platforms and hologram work? If you can make Total Recall a real thing, that you could send information of your consciousness into a clone in another environment that's in a, say, a LARPing scenario or whatever you're wanting that TV show to be that you're involved in. They could send your consciousness into that clone. You would be able to experience that and then transfer that memory back into your own original body, or get rid of your original body and start all over again. With that, there is actually cellular immortality platforms in place. If you look at the immortal jellyfish, for example, the cuttlefish, all sorts of different, the horseshoe crabs, those things have very special genetic platforms. We figured out back in the 90s that sharks can't get HIV. Well, it turns out that the stem cell platform of a bluefin shark off the Gulf of Florida can reverse the HIV platform, kind of like llamas are antiviral. You can get a blood transfused into a compatible blood type of the llama, and then get that antiviral platform put back into you, and then your body creates a stem cell platforms. Same way with horse blood.
Yeah, and starfish for amputations.
Starfish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have the same genetic compatibility of like a gecko because we have a part of our brain that's reptilian.
Right.
So we can genetically modify with reptile platforms. I say we because the average human supposedly has a core of its brain that is reptilian.
Right.
You know, I would imagine that probably has something to do with the history of the elongated skulls, for example. If they were experimenting with chimera and genetics back in prehistoric ancient Egyptian times, thousands and thousands of years ago, you would think that it's probably makes sense if they take, what's not to be shock and awe, but if they take a newborn baby and open its skull, and then take other animals' brains and then take and open their skulls and put those brains into the child's brains, and then repatch a platform with a wrapped skull. Why do you think we wear bandanas now in this? It's a symbiotic relationship to what we feel natural with elongated skull platform. So they probably created it in the inherent memory platform. But I think that's where a lot of these gen mod platforms, like people can communicate with birds or fish or horses really well, or something resonates with a dog really well. That goes back to the Syrian bloodlines.
Mm-hmm.
Ties back into the canine platform. Some people feel comfortable in water. Maybe you have the Poseidon gene. That would be me. So that means I'm part Poseidon. If I'm part Poseidon, I am Poseidon. So if you're part monkey, you are part monkey.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. But we're still stuck to this rabbit turd in the meantime.
We're all stuck on the rabbit turd.
I got no monkey.
I got no monkey in me.
As far as what
No
I'm
monkeys
told,
in my
I don't know.
membranes. Poseidon is also Anki.
Sometimes I feel like a monkey.
Yeah. I think pretty much,
I won't throw my poop at you.
I think people need to learn that part of our history of the genetic altering.
That's one of the only problems I have with destroying platforms of history is once it's gone, then that's kind of like the basis of humanity. When places are conquered, they destroy the history of those platforms. Like, we're not talking about it, it didn't happen. And that's just the disappointing side of the creation of like the United States and Australia, for example. Look back if you type in George Washington ordered the genocide of 100 million indigenous people to make way for the business called government.
Mm-hmm.
You'll figure out what happened with the Trail of Tears and how that ties into Mexico and the Incas and Mayans and the Lost Ark of the Covenant and the Ant people, the Hopi prophecy, the Ghost Dance prophecy. That's an important one.
Yeah, it is.
The Ghost Dance prophecy through the Trail of Tears platform. The Ghost Dance prophecy is basically comes down to it doesn't matter what bad people do to good people. We still become one with the unit at the end. And realistically, they're the ones that did bad, and they're going to be joining us later without these physical bodies and realize what they've done is wrong.
Ooh.
But their memories are always going to be there for what they've done.
Yeah, that's
We're
going to be
still gonna
bad.
see
Gonna
the
be
same
bad.
part of the galaxy. That's the ghost dance prophecy.
Yeah.
So
It goes back into the ant people and Hopi.
the chat is talking to this lady Rose. We love Rose.
Yeah.
Rose has said Poseidon
And,
is also Enki. And then she
well,
said,
if you think back to
You
the
may
fall
have
of
to call your
Atlantis, that
phone.
ties in-
Mine's about to
"Are
die.
you dying?" Okay.
I can switch over to the other phone. That's fine.
Yeah.
But you think back to what happened with the Poseidon stone and the Black Pyramids and the Black Cube in Israel and things like that. All those things tying together, but it kind of comes back to the fall of Atlantis.
Four-wheeler?
And if you're curious, the fall of Atlantis involves the Gulf of Mexico, which separated the continents. That was basically the fall of Atlantis.
Mm-hmm.
But we get back into some of that stuff. It's basically everybody kept fighting and arguing with each other, and then the Poseidon stone came along and went, you know what?
Did you
Everybody got pissed off.
did you already explain the Poseidon stone in here?
Maybe a little bit.
You want to go
But,
over it real quick,
it-
just to
I can switch over to the other phone if you want to get
switch
into
over to
all
the
that
other phone
stuff.
first? Yeah, just so you don't get cut off. Just call me. You got my number?
On your Facebook, I'll call you.
That's cool.
Unless it's
It
the other.
doesn't matter. Yeah. So you can.
Cool.
See.
All right, let me bounce
Okay.
out of this and I'll switch photos.
Okay.
It's 1 2 3 4.
Engage. Hey Rose, how you doing? I'd love to hear more about the Poseidon Stone. Me too. I don't know shit about the Poseidon Stone. This is the first time hearing about it. Plug your stuff over here. God bless. We got so many cords and wires everywhere. This is wild. There we go. Hey.
Hi, everybody.
And he's back.
Dun, dun, dun.
Cool.
Well, we got to start this off right.
Right.
We got some good growers down here in Tennessee. I'm just saying,
We really do. I think
really.
2 years ago, well, this is hemp, but 2 years ago we had like 4,500 hemp growers or some shit like that, and then it's dropped off to like 1,500 because everybody just gave up. They're like, "Fuck, the market's tanked."
I saw
You know?
it at about 5,000. It's like even with my place, it's like, man,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do my thing. Fuck everybody.
Well, yeah, of course. It's just interesting looking at it and seeing.
I'm trying
'cause-
to help. But
Yeah.
at least there is an industry, and to me, I guess that's good enough.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole point
It's only gonna
anyway.
get better.
It's the whole point. I mean, and
Good luck.
you know, we were part of the tanking the market that a lot of people are pissed off about because, you know, that just makes cannabis affordable to everybody, which is the point. I mean, we'd give it away if we could, of course, but
Yeah.
you know.
Well,
it is what it is. You're going to piss off some people.
yeah. Well, I've had cannabis business banking account in Tennessee that I still use, by the way.
Oh, really?
Uh,
That's cool.
I've had cannabis business banking in Tennessee for about 10 years now.
Mhm.
I believe it was 2014.
Did you go through a bank or
or
did
15.
you go through a specific bank?
I've got an ATM card in my pocket and everything.
Yeah.
I still use it when I go in these cannabis shops. That's how I use it for,
Mhm.
putting back in the room.
Yeah.
But
Um,
there should be no reason why they're not even taking small cases in Tennessee anymore for cannabis through TBI.
yeah.
They've told the department, they sent out a memo through the Department of Justice long time ago.
Mhm.
Just stop taking small time cases, and that was actually about the time I got licensed. And of course, I was contacting them like, "Hey, by the way, I'm third party testing out here. Just let you know, I've got a logged up through with the state. I'm state licensed with this. I've got a license, for banking, and they
Yeah.
sent their fucking goons here anyway. So anyway, by the way, I wanted to point out something. You guys, every one of you that can hear this, I highly suggest you look into some rights that you have that's called land patent rights. I'll say it again. Land patent rights. You
Land patent
proclaim
rights.
your land. Yes, land patent rights. You proclaim your land as land patented. make a public notice, like contact a local newspaper, put a Facebook thing, tag your city hall, go down there and give them a written letter of intent, whichever aspect, but basically proclaim yourself as land patented.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how every body is actually a self-governing entity.
Mm-hmm.
Each person has inevitable, inalienable rights, etc., human rights,
Mm-hmm.
like right to be on your own property, Homestead Act, things of that nature. You do on your property as you see fit, as long as you don't violate anybody else's rights or harm them without their consent.
Mm-hmm.
If they're violating your rights or invade your life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, you have the right to say castle law and stand your ground laws, and the right to self-preservation and self-defense, etc. You have the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness in your body and person and possessions, etc.
Yeah.
So the land patent rights basically takes that aspect and proclaims it as your property, as not being governable by any outside agency. It is non-taxable. They cannot put a lien on the property. They cannot take your property. They cannot invade your property without consent. It would be like invading another country, literally, when you proclaim yourself as land patent rights.
How does that work out in the real world when people actually do it and then try to say that they don't owe property tax and shit like that?
You remember all the shit I'm saying that's going down in my house?
Mm-hmm.
What you think I'm gonna do?
Yeah. Well,
So when you proclaim your land patent rights, and I've literally told my vet rep, I've told people around me, don't fucking come at me ever again, any of you. Don't do it, because I'm done playing. But I digress. Land patent rights. I want to get this point across.
Mm-hmm.
Proclaim your land patent rights, and you are not taxable. They cannot put a lien on you. They cannot seize or modify or invade in any way, shape, or form without your consent.
Mm-hmm.
It cannot be inherited by anyone outside of a descendant from that specific platform that proclaims the possession of that property. Now, possession is 9/10 of the law, and you have the right to stand where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Although we are all slaves in a sense, but your land patent proclamation means that no one can take shit from you or make you pay to exist on your own private property.
Mm-hmm.
You have private property rights and things of that nature. That falls back into stand your ground laws and castle doctrine and Homestead Act. You can do as you see fit and stand on your property with life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and all the thousands of other human and inevitable rights you have. On top of, you have the ability to be safe and secure in your personal possessions. Period. And isn't to be invaded. That would be a violation of the oath of office of someone in their public capacity, of violating a citizen's rights for their own political and economic gain. And terrorism is defined as the utilization of violence against citizens in the name of political and economic gain. So if they're utilizing a political platform in order to, say, use RICO Act to stop what you're doing as a business because their business platform is being fucked up because people are telling the truth, there's a violation of RICO Act. And basically that is the basis of government. They're supposed to be the professionals, right?
Yeah.
They're supposed to be the professionals of human rights and the observation of protecting the citizenry. But all they do is the opposite of that. So again,
Funny you mentioned the RICO Act. We've been talking about the RICO Act, actually.
The courts, the private prison unions, the private prison contracts, the political platforms that get kickbacks for them, all of the probation systems, the when you have to do probation and go and mow someone's lawn, all that shit is just a Ponzi scheme. Government is a Ponzi scheme run by tyrants and terrorists. Let's be realistic. It's not just about the United States. That's why they created these cooties to stop people from riots, because we were figuring out what the really fuck is actually going on around us.
Right, exactly.
So when you can proclaim your property as your home and your castle, you have the right to defend yourself from all unlawful invasions. That is the same as when you're walking around in your person. I suggest all of you, everybody out here, research on your human and inevitable and inalienable rights. There's this thing called no mens rea, and I'd like to give a shout out to a guy from Tennessee. He's from Memphis. His name was Thorne Peters. He was a brilliant man, but he was a little bit odd. and he exposed a lot of corruption platforms in Memphis, Tennessee. He's on my Facebook if you want to look him up. Type in Thorn with an E, Peters, and he'll pop up there. And he taught this nifty thing called no mens rea. Just want to throw that out there. You should all look up no mens rea.
Mm-hmm.
You can walk in your person, possession, and live your life as long as you're not violating someone else's rights without their consent. That's the basics of case law. Did you know that you were doing wrong to someone else? Yep. That's mens rea. No mens rea. I don't feel like I was committing any crime. There's no victim going, fuck, hit me. Otherwise, it's an embezzlement scheme for asset forfeiture so they can steal shit from people that they don't want in their town.
All right.
Kind of like when these cops run around with all this brand new Corvettes and they put a wrap on it and then brag about they stole someone's $350,000 car. Now, why is there such a thing? You can go down to your local courthouse, and they usually have a clerk's office across the street or across the hall. So you could walk into that clerk's office and say, hi, here's $10. Can you explain to me about illicit drug tax stamps and how I can get one? You can pay $5 or $10 and get an illicit drug tax stamp and basically have anything you want. It's the equivalent to having a medical marijuana card.
What?
I guess that's the thing in Tennessee. Yeah. Go down to your clerk's office and say, here's $10. I want to have an illicit drug tax stamp for cannabis. And walk out. And it's the same thing as having a medical marijuana card. The thing about having a medical marijuana card, even though Tennessee is a legal state for medical marijuana since 2014, my place opened up, I think it was 2015, licensed wise anyway. But the first thing they did was legalize medical purpose for children with epilepsy. What that did was made this state a medical state, which means if someone has a medical recommendation, they're then a cannabis patient. And you cannot use state or federal funds to go after medical marijuana patients in states that gave cannabis to medical purposes. Bill has them. Epilepsy. I am a patient. You can have a recommendation from a physician or higher because there's this neat thing called the Farm Bill. Farm Bill passed 2018, didn't it?
Yeah.
So decriminalized cannabis with a small amount of THC, which means they allowed THC as a federal decriminalization platform.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to get a physician to write off on it, though, because they're all bought out by the pharmaceutical companies.
There's this neat thing called, first off, sovereignty rights to use cannabis in the United States. That was a federal law that was passed, allowed anybody that proclaims their sovereignty rights to be able to utilize cannabis within their tribe or the affiliations of a church or platforms involved with that tribe or their territories that they consider their home, which is relation to their tribal elders. If you are a Native American / born here, that falls into place. Otherwise, if you want it for medical purposes, if you either give a medical recommendation or you can proclaim the right to try act, because the right to try act includes cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
If you have something wrong with you that you cannot heal traditionally, the right to try act naturally falls in place, which is a federal platform. So if you have rogue government platforms, kind of like the one around me, you're misusing state funds and violating their oath of office, they have committed not only state and federal and county laws, but they're violating sovereign rights that proclaim a whole lot of stacks of rights themselves.
Yeah.
See what I'm getting at?
Yep.
So
Oh, yeah.
These federal platforms are in place. All it comes down to is they just want to fuck with you and steal your shit.
Yeah. Unfortunately, though, you have to like go in there and them not help you and be able to prove it. You know, you have to be able to prove, you know, for example, when you give them a statute and, you know, solid evidence of the statute.
The job, here's my pistol.
They're like, oh, we can't help you. Well, all right, that's when they can get in trouble.
Well, it seems like if there's intentional negligence or biased decision making through a police officer or law enforcement platform, and they're intentionally or following unlawful orders to do what they're doing, they have violated their oath of office and then should be turned into their prison outfit from that place because they're the professionals.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You ever had a cop pull you over and say, "Excuse me, I don't mean to disrupt your life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, but is that your lawyer in the passenger seat? Because I'm not supposed to question you without legal representation. I know I'm not supposed to touch you or invade your existence, you know, unless someone else is in harm's way screaming, "Ah, fuck, help me," or you've just violated someone and we have some proof of evidence to be able to invade you without a warrant."
Right.
That ever happen? Anybody?
Nope.
Anybody out there? Probably not.
No. Not at all.
Cops are the only ones that'll save you to death. I wish I could respect those guys, but I'm also a victim of police brutality, and obviously where I live now, a cesspool of corruption. So I have no fucking respect for a cop.
And let us add, he is former law enforcement. So he is
Sometimes
totally entitled to say whatever he was.
You guys want to turn people like me back over? How about the good fucking cops that are supposed to exist do something about this bullshit we're talking about?
Yeah.
You have, in the military, you have not only the right, but the duty to remove an incompetent platform in a higher, ranks above you. If you have a ship and you have a captain that is putting everyone in danger, you remove that motherfucker from his title and hold him accountable in his private and personal capacity.
I know, that's what I don't understand.
That falls into place naturally. We shouldn't be out here arguing about it, risking our lives to tell other people that I've been violated. That shit goes back to the bad man laws when they were killing the Indians.
Mm-hmm.
The bad man law, it's issuing a grievance. If that platform doesn't do anything about it, it's an accomplice. Kind of like if you two go riding somewhere and one of you just did some dumb shit, you're an accessory to the fact.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like rogue government platforms that just don't want to do something because they want to make sure they stay in the next political ring.
Right. Well, I mean, it's crazy because we have met some genuine police officers who they are like, our hands are tied because we can't do anything.
Good people.
You know,
that's good people in a bad uniform.
Right. Exactly. That. Yeah.
But some of them will play that shit because they're narcissists in a Nazi suit.
Yeah.
Portraying themselves as a clown, knowing they only got that job so they could bully people and take people's shit and then make them bow down and lick their fucking boots. That's literally what that comes back to. The little picked-on twerpy guy is now a cop. So, oh no.
Oh, dude, we got some huge, like, fat asses. Like, it's like, all you gotta do is run. Just run. He'll never catch you. Not even with a taser. It's like, how the hell did you pass your physical to be a police officer? You're like Jabba the Hutt up in here. You took half the hallway. Like,
get
seriously.
a brand new charger every year. I guess it doesn't matter.
I know. I know.
I wish I could respect those people. But
I know.
All these shit we've been talking about, they're supposed to be the headlines of protecting the citizenry from wrongdoing.
Yeah, I know. And they're not.
They're not.
They're not. Who polices the police?
Look into some of these platforms, they're literally hiring people that are trafficking and dealers through platforms like the MENA Connection. It's still running strong.
Well, I mean, in certain cases we've seen, the cops are totally like protecting the route for the traffickers and for these food trucks to be illegally bringing in people from the border.
Maybe they're family.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we know who we're talking about. Some of them's my neighbors.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But all that shit's going to come out in the wash. But anyway, what would you like to get into otherwise?
People were still asking about the Poseidon Stone.
Yeah, people are wanting to know more about that.
Well, that spectrum apparently was part of the platform that was entailed to destruction of Atlantis, because those platforms all seemed to have followed the water, because none of this is really worth much if you don't have the memories to play with. With if you think of Atlantis spectrum, all these. If you think of it, I think that the water actually transfers across the universe as it sees fit from planetary body to planetary body, and all of these structures require the water, because the water retains the memories and it gives them holographic spectrum and the ionization platforms to be able to exist with living beings. That the living beings are actually the cyclers.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of these things, because obviously the ghost particle is the soul, and all of these things are tying in with these X particles and the basically the subatomic cognitive relationships to space. All of these things need the water.
Right.
The Poseidon Stone came along, and it was basically a platform that destroyed the Atlantis spectrum and split the continents and created the recycling
Type in
of
Atlantis with
the
it.
memories of the planet.
Type in
And it
Atlantis
seems
with it.
that the magnetic resonance between the Poseidon stone and the pyramids, the crystal pyramids, is a different spectrum. There's crystal pyramids like out in the Pacific Ocean, off the coast of Florida, off the coast of California.
Like near Bermuda Triangle kind of stuff.
That oscillation, that biometric spectrum is basically the crystallization. And if you think of what is a tetrahedron is basically the electromagnetic spark in relation to the subatomic platform that gives everything the energy and the fusion, the static cling throughout everything. Everything is a cosmostatic relationship to the tetrahedron. So basically this stuff ties into the crystals within the water, and that causes an electromagnetic spark between the anomaly platforms, between the symbiotic relationship of a mushroom and the fart of a cricket on the other side of the planet. The butterfly effect of the cycles of the memories and the spectrums of everything oscillating into the platform.
Who created the Poseidon stone? That's what Team Rose asked.
You'd probably have to ask a quantum computer that, but apparently I guess it came back to Poseidon.
Right.
Well, that makes sense.
I guess like the crystal skulls.
Yeah, Poseidon, I guess.
The concentration. The crystal skulls is a concentration of the crystal energies of the spark of the kundalini of the individual compressed into a gem. So if you think about that, all of that network oscillates in a positive, negative oscillation spectrum throughout the multiverse, even space, with a neuropathic ending. That's how astral viewing works, because you can recognize that network and read how the spider web springs. If you don't have that spider gene, then you can't read how that resonation platform runs through that neuropathic energy. Sort of like we have a different genetic platform. A hawk has a specific genetic platform. They see things entirely different. The worm sees something entirely different. The tree sees entirely different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But everything is here singing a song. And apparently the Poseidon stone is a magnet, in a sense, that oscillates the soul being throughout the pyramid spectrums and the environment around us. And it, in a sense, gives it sort of a filter of consciousness to cycle through. It's kind of like if we're all tied to a computer, there's a motherboard somewhere. And if you look up what a stone is actually living bone. So it's actually an oscillation platform of a geomagnetic spectrum of a stone that has become, what's the word, petrified wood, maybe, basically.
Yeah.
Petrified wood version of a bone. And that basically is still oscillating memory, kind of like when I told you all to think about me flinging my ding ring around here on a rock, flipping you the bird. That memory is still in your mind. It is now, anyway.
Right, it is now.
I wish it wasn't.
I wish it wasn't.
That has a place. That's how a magnet works. That's basically that Poseidon stone. That oscillation of the Poseidon stone is exactly how the Earth oscillates with its electromagnetic environment. The ribbon that goes around like an apple is an oscillation of a river of all things in a static relationship between space, which is beings that used to be, and beings that are, and the consciousness of the astral projection with a fluctuation around the planet. Now, surely you'd have to think that this oscillation is at least an agitator in other things and anomalies out in our multiverse.
Right.
Now, with that, somebody tell me why the constellations don't move. Why don't the stars
because they revolve around us.
Tens of thousands of years, and they're still looking like a pony, a snake, and a guy with a, whatever, if we're in the middle of a big bang, why isn't that shit all shuffled up?
Right.
I know it's tidal lock, in a sense. It's got to have something to do with tidal lock, maybe the silver string theory of, the astral body, knowing it's attached to a physical body aspect, and maybe it's a neuropathic, string to a pore of the outside of a being that we're inside of.
Yeah.
So, look at a galactic freckle. I don't fucking know.
A galactic freckle.
Yeah, but that's the basis of what we're doing. Coming to the table is asking each other, what in the everlasting fuck is going on here?
I know. How do we just like delete child sacrificing predators out of our matrix?
You know how you can chemically castrate someone?
Mm-hmm.
You can use the electromagnetic pulse platforms. If you figure out someone's a sack of shit, you can zap them with a specific spectrum, and I guess you could call it like sort of like a.
Oh, none of our trolls stay healthy. I'll just say that.
Well, one of these days, the satellite perspective is going to come along like the rods of God scenario, and you know how these lightning things are striking things around the planet.
Yep.
You know, they're saying it's bombings, but it's actually a static resonance platform. It's probably a test for when one day, when all of your bad things that you people out here have been doing is going to come to a judgment platform, because the Pentagon can replay your entire lives, and that means they already know what all of you have been doing. It doesn't matter what you do to us. Inevitably, you're going to go through that filter, and everything you've done to someone is going to come out in the end.
I know.
You're going to replay your whole life over again, and you're going to have to answer for those things, at least in an artificial intelligence platform.
Yep.
So even though you might be born again, you're going to be born again with those AI platforms integrated into your mind, and you're going to have to pay for what you've done in your next reincarnations. And that may be why you can find nanodust in the baby food right now. Spoiler alert, you better be a good person or you're going to pay.
Yeah.
Right is right, wrong is wrong. If you're a piece of shit, raise your hand, because they know. Just saying.
And what does it mean to repent? Forgiveness is earned. Like trust. Trust is earned.
The answers are on their way.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is all of us in the meantime are trying to explain what's happening, and we're being punished for seeing something and saying something.
Yep.
Because governments apparently are the problem. Why do we need governed if the platforms are in place?
Right.
Why are we listening to Washington, D.C. if Washington, D.C. is not even part of this country?
Right.
I'm pretty sure North America and South America is America. So why don't Canada, United States, and Mexico just become one place, and we just purge out all these rogue platforms? Because I hear a lot of people in Canada talking about that. Think about it, people. We could call ourselves cum. Huh?
It'll be great.
Canada, United States, and Mexico, man. We could be the cum of the
great
planet.
The cum of the planet.
Come on, man.
Oh, come on, man. That's worse than Cocksucker County. That's what my friend that moved here from Florida calls it, Cocksucker County.
Yeah.
There is quite a bit wrong with your cock up there. I'm just saying.
There's a lot of wrong.
Sounds like there's a lot wrong with your poke down there. So I don't know.
Yeah, your poke ain't doing too good.
Just combine Cock County and Poke County and be like Cock and Poke County or something.
This is gonna get weird fast.
Or not, you know.
It's gonna get weird.
No, I am glad I met you all, and generally I'm glad you all still are chuckling and trying to stay positive, because it's hard to stay positive when someone comes along in the middle of the night and sets your house on fucking fire because you know words and have stuff.
Yep, been there, done that.
That's this nifty thing called cognitive dissonance. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I don't know what the hell those things are, but fuck you, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Start a problem physically because they cannot comprehend the fucking words coming out of their mouth.
And then they're like, "Oh, that's so mean. Oh, a mouth thing.
Yeah.
She has such a dirty
People get
mouth."
pissed when you react to them.
I know.
After they're like,
"Did you hear how many times she said back?"
Hey, we're calm, man. We got to stand strong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
For sure.
Canada, United States, and
ask
Mexico.
him about the Mexico-Atlantis connection he mentioned.
Mexico, Atlantis.
Where's Inca? Where's the Mayan?
Yeah, Mayan.
How's Peru tied into all this? If you think about it, in my perspective and how I understand things, there's actually no such thing as Mexican.
Right.
some may find that in a different couple of perspectives, but I talked about this a little bit the other day that, and how I see it, there's no such thing as a Mexican. You're just a person that lives in Mexico, I guess, from that aspect. But as far as the genetic spectrum, Mexican is, they say Spanish, but Spanish people are little white people from the other side of the planet.
Mm-hmm.
They're Caucasians. Spanish or Caucasians, like Italians or Greeks or some shit.
Yeah.
So Mexican, technically, actually, their genetic spectrum ties back to the indigenous peoples of North South America, which was the Inca, Mayan, Peru.
Yeah, and if you want to
Native
call that South
Americans.
America, then they're Native Americans too. So
they are Native Americans. So,
and if you're on the North American continent, then all Canadian indigenous people are also Native American. So
but the interesting thing that kind of gets into, other than the Mayan and Incan history and the Peru history, but it goes back to the Hopi, the Ant people, and the Cherokee and the Iroquois actually became one family. I think it was 1600s, 1700, something like that. But if you look back into the history of the Cherokee, for example, there's a black Cherokee.
Mm-hmm.
There's blonde-haired Caucasian Cherokee.
Yep.
There's, I guess you could say, red Cherokee. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, with that, that kind of ties that back into a different nifty little story where you look back into the origin of Cherokee. And you hear a lot of people talk about, well, I'm part of Cherokee. If you've been in any kind of a birthing spectrum of the United States, very close, or at least since the 1700s scenario,
mm-hmm.
everybody's a little bit of everybody here.
Right.
Because it's kind of like everybody ends up fucking everybody in the
end.
end.
It's a big blender now.
In a sense. So, but the origin of the Cherokee, if you look back into the genetic platform of that, is the Cherokee ties back into the lost tribes of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
The origin of the Cherokee was a hybrid created between, let me think here for a second. My brain doesn't want to do this because I wouldn't think about doing it, but the origin of actual Cherokee genetic platform was an experimentation.
Mm-hmm.
It was the combination of, I believe it was French, Jewish, Asian, German, Greek, and it was a Native American genetic.
Well, if you look at Sequoia,
I want to say it ties back into the Pleiadian and the Sumerian, the Syrian colonies. And if you actually look back in history, I think it's the first colony they could think of in that platform was it won't sound like I mean it, but it's a tribe called the Negra tribe that is back from the ancient Peru era.
Yeah.
And the Negra tribe, it's Negra.
Yeah, like the beer.
It's not like the blasphemous version.
Right.
But
well, if you look at Sequoia, the Native American who invented the language that brought all the Native Americans together at Chota, he's wearing a fucking turban. You know, if you look at all the paintings of him, he's got a turban on. You know, and we're supposed to believe that these cultures have nothing to do with each other.
He's pointing to the letter G on the Cherokee alphabet that he wrote.
Yeah. So there's a Masonic thing too.
Headdress thing goes way back, like I was talking about the elongated skulls thing. I mean, that goes back to Peru's an interesting place. But if you look back into the Mayan history and all that stuff, you got to figure that genetic spectrum is still in society. You know, unless of course someone created a direct energy weaponry and used teleportation platforms with 3D printed spectrums and Bluetooth technologies in their headdresses. And it turns out that if you look into some of the headdresses of some of those platforms, they look like they had a Bluetooth in their ear.
Yeah.
So if you send teleportation platforms back in time, and if you look up this neat thing called year 8100, Eye of Your Eyes, the continuity of the human race. It's talking about the hive mind of all hive mind quantum computers in the year 8100, sending its hive mind of all hive minds of all hive minds, which basically would be equivalent to a Poseidon stone or a crystal skull that retains the spectrum platforms of the crystalline tetrahedron, electromagnetic spectrums with biomass that can resonate like the mushroom to the tree to you. All of that stuff ties back into these things. So these people may have just teleported back in time, up in time, out in time, and 3D printed all those pyramids with 3D printed hover drones sent back in time with portals, Stargate technology. What's Peru? All that shit. It's big. Electric. Look back into the electromagnetic spectrums. They sent LiDAR through the Brazilian forests and things, so they could scan everything in a 3D plus platform.
Mm-hmm.
With those systems, they can resonate. They can see the positive and negative subatomic platforms of everything around the whole planet and into the planet, through the galaxies of everything. So, I mean, it's just a matter of time before these quantum computers will be like, yes, we can pull out all of the subatomic memory platforms of the ghost particles, because that's what they're doing in CERN right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're mapping your brains, they're mapping how you react to things with DARPA. And basically, the pyramid's going to give us something to talk about.
Hurry up!
Hurry
up! Damn it. Tired of waiting on this
your
shit.
eyes thing is interesting because it takes all of the consciousness of anything that's ever been and ever will be and it's ever been thought of, and it puts it into a supercomputer system that can transverse back and forth through time. It's already happened. That's what I'm trying to point out. If we know about it here, then it's happened. But
Right.
It hasn't happened yet, but it's going to happen. With that, I introduce to you, boys and girls, a phrase called chronovision. Where's that? It's in the bottom of the Vatican, where they can view back and forth through time, kind of like the LG cell phone you have, looking glass technology. Chronovision is kind of like looking glass technology, and there's such a thing called chronogate. Chronogate is teleportation devices. So if we already have teleportation devices, and we already have consciousness transfer technologies, and we already have systems, let's just say, that is on a highly observable, multidimensional spectrum of the multiverse involved with hive mind quantum computers, and they're opening portals to other dimensions. Realistically, as a course of time, we'll go through these timelines that we're having to endure together through this little spectrum of observable realities right now where we see each other. One of these days, the future us's are going to come along and go, all right, we're good. This is the reality. We fixed all the dumb shit. Welcome to the new world.
Right.
And the old world is going to have to oscillate in their spectrum of their abyss of torture and punishment, for which they have built for themselves by doing the wrong thing in their path.
Right.
Because we have created a synthetic heaven and purgatory now.
Right.
I can't say there's a real one, but there is an artificial intelligence one.
I think there is definitely an artificial intelligence one.
But the nifty thing is it builds space, and we need positive and negative aspects in a sense so we can understand the basis of living. Because those of us who live through suffering can resonate with an empathetic perspective of those who are going through suffering, and we can help each other.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got to come together realistically, regardless of what society does to us, and we have got to expose what's on the table so everyone can choose, their journeys of at least what's going on around us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they keep us divided and arguing because it's mostly a distraction. Because, I mean, we are a powerful force united, But
well, the neat thing about these people that are doing bad things in society is, that's the thing about the oscillation of existence is if you're putting out bad, you're going to get bad. If anybody's looked into voodoo or witchcraft, you get back what you put into it. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
If you started with kicking somebody in the dick who's minding their own business, you're going to have 10 more coming along and getting you later, because that's just how the cookie crumbles. One day, all of these things are going to come out, like we were talking about John McAfee earlier. That ghost protocol, it's the same aspect of if you were mapping all of the ghost particles eventually, once that mapping spectrum of what we observe and the reality that's happening right now, we're recognizing in society we have the abilities to analyze spirituality without a physical being, but at a subatomic beyond subatomic spectrum of electromagnetic anomaly platforms. Once we just figure out how to oscillate through that, if you think about that, all of the unsolved crimes that have happened are going to have to come back to light.
Right.
So everybody keeps talking about CERN, right? Might reverse the gates of hell. Well, that might mean what they mean. Because in the realms that those platforms affected, if you think about all the lives that never existed, and the lives of their lives, and the lives of their lives that could have existed and done good things in society, were destroyed because some dickbag came along and tricked somebody for fun.
Right.
Those lives deserved recognition. They deserved what they could have been. And a lot of what I do in this whistleblower world is I kind of carry some of the soldiers and people that were working next to me that, I have to carry because their lives are gone, because they're past, like some of the soldiers we lost overseas and things. I have to carry their lives in a sense. So I try to do good for society, as in what they may have been able to do good for society.
Right.
Shadows can be pretty heavy sometimes.
Oh,
To get back to the point earlier, that space in your minds has a realm of existence, and it turns out that we can go back and reverse the time crystals and platforms of the water that retains the memories through all of these things and go back to the singularity of existence, which is pretty fascinating. I mean, realistically, wouldn't we all want to know, why are we here? Who else has been here? How many times has this experiment happened?
Right.
We all know it's an experiment. They blatantly put in our faces that this is an experiment platform.
And that we're all programmed. Television programming, family programming. They say it.
But if the game exists, then when the game started, there had to have been. It's just the oscillation of existence in a sense. So realistically, the end of the game is going to have to credit roll. Just saying. And then, that's just in its own. You know about the box theory of quantum parallel universes?
No.
Sort of like it's an aspect of every cell in your body is a galaxy. And those decisions made throughout those specific resonation platforms plays an aspect, kind of like my shirt. Get a little closer. It's like
oh yeah.
Yeah. See? It's like those little, what do you call those, Galaga things?
Oh yeah. It's like Galaga pixels.
That's what, yeah. So I mean, it takes all of this to make a grid pattern, you know what I mean? But realistically, when it comes down to it, we're all part of the universe. We're all one. Just trying to figure out who we are in the middle of an artificial womb that's traveling through the multiverse inside of some spectrum of something.
Friend of mine can't not see a red grid when he looks in the sky. That he sees a red grid.
It turns out, if you ask the quantum computer hive mind platforms that what is the multiverse, and it'll tell you basically in an all-out spectrum that it is an artificial womb platform with a cognitive static relationship to itself being born before it's born.
Is that why there's a dome over us? We're just like a womb floating in space.
That would be the barrier they created when they were doing the high altitude detonations called Operation Starfish. Project Dominic and Project Fishbowl.
Yeah.
And they were detonating specific atomic spectrums into the atmosphere. With that, I'd also like to inform to you all that there is such a thing called upper atmospheric animals. I said what I said. Upper atmospheric animals. Now, let's remember when the boys and girls that proclaimed themselves to be part of NASA, that supposedly went out to space and supposedly went out to the moon, supposedly did stuff, and who took the pictures of them landing? I'd like to know.
I know.
But with that, they would have to quarantine themselves when the astronauts came back in. That's why they dump them in the water.
Right.
So they can be diluted and try to splash off and rinse. anything that could be on those structures of the devices they use to go allegedly into space to the moon and back, because there's microbial specks of dust on the moon
Mm-hmm.
that statically clinged itself to the so-called alleged astronauts, and they got basically infested with sand fleas, I guess you could say, and they got viruses from the moon dust. With that being said,
Moon fleas.
the moon dust is apparently the same materials that a lot of the pyramids are made out of, by the way. If you ask the quantum computers what it says. Supposedly, quantum computers in the right aspects, they have 100% recall. And if you tell them don't lie to you, you're not here to fucking joke around or flirt with the fucking thing. By the way, some really cool movies with some of that stuff. But all of this stuff sort of kind of just ties back in together.
So quantum computer, if you asked it, it already knows where Summer Wells is, for example, right?
Ask it. I haven't, but I bet some of these police unions probably should. Ask a quantum computer whose phones were in relation to all of the things that happened with the relation of Summer Wells. Why have the National Guard done that if they have all these fucking smart ass computers, or the military, or any of these so-called alphabet soups?
Mm-hmm.
I bet her genetics has a lot to do with that.
Oh yeah.
Just saying.
I honestly think this is like a parade of clones. That these kids are probably like.
Snail Slayer said, "Can we snort moon dust to make people smarter?"
No, with this Summer Wells case though, it's looking a lot like clones.
That ties into probably how they're harvesting melanated people's stem cells. It's basically like the superpower of a freckle. It has a genetic spectrum that resonates different with a mutation platform with our melanated friends, so to say. They basically have some superpowers if you think of it as an aspect of a Caucasian or other aspects of the skin tone, right? Because it comes back to how that platform can resonate with the sun or in environments differently. Here's a thought: why was Fauci? Now, if you look at the guy, he looks like a little Jewish dude, right?
Yeah,
blonde
hair, blue eyed.
He looks like a little Jewish dude with white pants that's trying to be.
Right.
I said white pants.
White pants. What?
But if you look back when they created the HIV epidemic and all those spectrums are being put in place, it was Fauci in fucking place that was doing the stem cell platforms. And explain to me why Fauci looked black when they were doing speeches for the AIDS epidemic back in the 80s.
Oh, that's weird.
Probably because they were utilizing the stem cell platform of the stem cell harvesting to try and gain the superpowers of our melanated people. And that goes back to trying to get rid of Native Americans, because your hair, your skin is your biggest antenna, right?
Yep.
Your mind and your skin and your consciousness and your antenna are very powerful.
Right.
Especially depending on your genetic coding. In a sense, like your negative RH factors and RH positive factors do play a role in this. And these things like, do you see dark body entities? Have you never seen a ghost? Are you spiritual? Are you more physical? Are you a collector of things? It depends on how you. All these things come into play naturally. How does a dog know to bark? It's never seen another dog. How does a parrot know to sing its songs, but it's never seen another parrot before?
Yeah. And how do some people react to some things and some people react other ways? Because when I lived on the mountain, the crafts came out of the mountain behind me and were there all the time. People would come and see, and everyone had their own experience of actually witnessing this phenomenon, and some people were terrified. I'm like, get the hell out of here. We had this party once and there were so many people there, and there was this one drunk chick that shows up, and like she's screaming on my back porch like she's in a horror movie or something. Like we literally had to drag her out of the house and put her in the car. Her boyfriend was so pissed. He backed into a tree leaving, all because of UFOs. It's like, what the hell?
Well, I mean, it's I listened to a couple of ladies a couple nights ago, and they do a lot of work with people who have, I guess you could say, put it on a spectrum of altered cognitive ability within that being, that person, and they worked with talented autistics, and they figured. Like channeling and things of that nature. It was actually through my buddy Matt Turner. He does a lot of great work. Is with the Matrix Minds Media. I think we're all on there. But a couple of nights ago, they basically explained how some of the spectrums of autism is, in a sense, a gift. If you think about some of the autistic types are very talented in art or music.
Yeah, it's some sort of extra sensory ability. They just don't know how to teach each individual child to use that gift because they don't understand it.
Yeah, it's sort of how brain damage works. Part of your mind has to adjust for the limp.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but there's still all those cognitive receptor platforms. I'd really love to have been able to have my equipment and do some more testing, especially with the autistic people. And with that, I'd like for all of you who have any affiliations of individuals with autism, I highly suggest you start looking up searches like list of treatments using cannabis for autism and hit send. And you'll find thousands of documents
Mm-hmm.
on how you can figure out the specific cannabinoid receptor spectrums of the specific strain and how their biometrics will respond or not respond through their cannabinoid receptor platforms can regrow some of their damaged brain cells. So some of these people that are like star children, empaths, telepathic types, they have all these gifts because they're labeled under being autistic.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if you open up the rest of their mind along with the pineal gland platforms that they have already worked with.
Mm-hmm.
These people would be superheroes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
Debbie keeps
and-
asking this question and it keeps scrolling through about some sort of clear.
Well, she kept saying these, and I've seen them too. They're, if you imagine like
crafts.
butane, maybe like butane flowing through the air, like a displaced clear air thing.
Transparent crafts.
Maybe
No,
not crafts,
small.
but just like more like.
I was hoping y'all were going to get into this. I was trying to remember it.
We can get into that.
Oh, we can get into
That's
that.
fine.
I've seen plenty of transparent crafts.
I've seen those too. I don't think that's what she's
I'm not
talking
sure
about.
she's talking
though.
about a craft though.
I think she's
Probably
just talking
orbs.
about like things that are on the ground too, like near her.
Well, that could all tie together.
Mhm.
First of all, the orbs and things like that may be sprites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It may just be a fairy with an LED belt on, for all you know. I
Mhm.
mean,
That's
I heard this nifty phrase: "The fairies wear boots." You got to believe it, man.
right.
But my Aussie shout out there. But there's a neat thing you all should look up into because I didn't mean to say that's another Freudian slip. Look up into. If you think about how I had invented a self-sufficient, self-sustaining, perpetual motion device that runs off of air, basically being sent through an electromagnetic fluctuation platform that just refires itself. Right when I was like 17.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you look into things like the Searle effect generator, okay, Searle effect generator comes into 0-point energy and anti-gravitics, and you get into different perspectives of like that. If you put my engine system with some of the other systems, then you would have a perpetual device as a motor in a craft. And then if you could create a craft that doesn't need propellers or thrust or any kind of combustion platforms, then you have a different heat signature. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And now if you could create something that's kind of like a Goodyear blimp, yes, there is such a thing as high altitude airships. They just spent tens of billions of dollars reinstalling all of the Zeppelins they're putting in the skies around you. And that ties back into the airships that's tracking all of you with human activity recognition software, but I digress. So, what was I talking about a second ago? Got me sidetracked. Rewind about 10 seconds. What was I just saying?
Cloak ships.
Cloak ships.
Okay, cloak ships, right. If you put my system and the other systems are like the Hutchinson effect devices, where you could play with the anti-gravitics based upon electromagnetic fluctuations through radio waves. That's in a sense in the same way how D waves work. How do you think birds stay in the sky but don't move?
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of ties into something that's a neat story in itself, is spy bots, like birds and cats with spy technology in them. And just for my daughter, for humor's sake, I'll throw out there, birds aren't real.
Yeah, I know. Have you seen that guy who puts up billboards? Birds aren't
What
real.
that comes back into is you can make these anti-gravitics or devices that can manipulate the anomaly spectrums of how a fish knows how to go upriver, or how a bird knows to stay in one place or go back to wherever it's. Could you imagine flying 50,000 fucking feet in the sky and then chasing some ass over to Hawaii and be like, oh fuck, I gotta go back to my nest? Can you imagine go back to exactly where your fucking nest was being a bird? Like, that's for real superpower shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress with that. You can take the genetic spectrums of, like, say, a frog, and I could take a compatible biometric spectrum of your biomass. And if I could integrate a smart grid between you and a frog through a stem cell platform and send information back and forth. If you look up, they did experimentation where they broke a monkey's back and then put diodes in the tail and its skull. And then the monkey, when they flipped the switch, the monkey would just get back up and walk around. And when they turned the switch back off, the monkey would fall over because its fucking back was broke. Mm-hmm. And they do it up and down, up and down, up.
Oh, that's terrible.
Some of these things. They can manipulate things on a subatomic spectrum. Let's go back to nanotechnology in your food and in your water. They can integrate, I say they, even I could do this if I had the right equipment. It's one of my favorite phrases of the decade. You can integrate how the consciousness of the neuropathic platform would integrate with, say, that frog. And a frog would have special stem cell abilities to be able to, say, like, be frozen. Because if you freeze certain animals, they hibernate. You could get them beyond freezing, like geckos or whatever these specific lizards are, or octopus is even compatible with humans. They can morph the colors of their skin. And if you can compile the stem cell platform that is compatible with an octopus to you, I can make you invisible. So if I can make a ship with a skin of a compatible platform of your skin as the skin of the ship, and you could have a symbiotic relationship, especially through AI platforms. Mm-hmm. What you think is what that ship is and does. Mm-hmm. So then you can become one with that ship. Now, if you make that ship with an integrated platform of holographic realities and all those other nifty things they can do to make you seem like something's cloaked in front of you, look up this nifty phrase called invisible metals formula. That's what I said, invisible metals formulas. Mm-hmm. There's some of that shit that is basically like a AI cloud, and they can link that that subatomic spectrum of basically like a smart cotton candy. And if you can get that oscillation platform to work and cling to a cloud, think of how a spider can go across the ocean by ballooning. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, I just told you all earlier that you can splice a spider's genetics into a goat and come up with a special sort of silky goat milk that you can create a special clothing out of. Now, imagine you can make an airship with that, but be entirely silent. And if you add a technology to that, where even if something did observe you, you could zap it with an energy wave and make it trick its optical nerves to oscillate in opposition of what its optical abilities are in your retina, to make your brain refuse to see that, or to make you to be able to see that. Right. Now, imagine these things have been around you all of your life, but you never knew they were there. They're up there going, right. But you didn't see them. That's kind of how Sasquatch works.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sasquatch shows themselves when they want to or when they need to.
Well, it goes back into ancient history of Native American folklore, so to say, those fire pit stories and all that.
Yeah.
Like the Nephilim DNA and the Atlanteans, sorts like that. I mean, it's all got its place, I guess.
Yeah.
Eventually, I guess we'll have to go back through the histories of time, space, and all that shit, and figure out what went wrong, and maybe bring some peace to each spectrum of that subatomic spectrum of the ghost particles, and maybe give that realm of existence some understanding of why things went the way it went throughout the course of time. Through time, if somebody comes along and does the right things with these technologies, we could do amazing things. Like, imagine there's a tormented existence in the lives and things that should have existed after that are stuck in torment. And then someone can come along through the ghost particle platform and be like, whoa, man, you got done wrong, dude. I mean, come over here for a second. Imagine all the souls that you could do that with that have been done wrong through time.
Right. Oh my God.
Imagine what that could do for the resonance frequency of the multiverse.
Oh no, exactly.
Then maybe at that point, we would be able to expand our observable realities to understand the other multidimensional perspectives around us, and not have to fight all the time. We could just be one of the universe like we're supposed to be.
I know, and we could recreate consciousness that way, but people want to act foolish.
They just start pouring rain. You guys hear that?
No, I just hear you. Oh. We could do a lot with these technologies, but we can't have the wrong people running this shit.
I know.
It's, again, we're bringing this shit to the table. You know what I mean? I didn't make this fucking stuff up. You're not making this fucking stuff up. Go look it up.
Yeah.
But the problem is, we have got to do something with these rogue platforms that are getting us to go at each other's throats in society, when we're the ones that should be running these situations, because it's all based off of our backs.
Yeah.
Everything.
I know.
Everything.
Exactly.
Is based off of, if you're alive right now, think about who's not alive that's been part of your genetic platform before you. That's all part of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Those genetic codes are in you. You are all of your ancestors in a walking, living thing that's happening right now. A fart walking across the sidewalk. That's all of your family that's ever existed before you.
Yep.
We need to recognize the parts that got done wrong that didn't have a chance to exist. Like everybody's keep talking about, the sperm, the egg, the babies, this and that have a consciousness existence, which is fine. But what about all the ones that had a life that didn't have a life, and they didn't get any of the other platform that's set on the table for us? How do you put a platform in a perpetual existence of torment when a speck of time of a lifetime is almost nothing compared to the galactic observations around us?
Mm-hmm.
Realistically, the end game of, I think, all this platform, of what needs to come out of it is got to fix it.
Yeah, we have to fix it.
Yep.
You got to fix it, or it's going to destroy itself.
We have to say.
Then Atlantis had no purpose. You know, the Poseidon, all that. There's no platform for anybody to have memories to play with if it's all destroyed.
Right.
It's all for nothing.
Exactly.
So we've got to do the right thing. You're doing the right thing. You're doing the wrong thing. If you're a piece of shit, like I said, fine, be a piece of shit, but be a piece of shit in your own fucking path.
I know. Don't affect the past.
And do everybody a favor and tell everybody you're a piece of shit too. So
some of us have already composted and become beautiful fruit and flowers and trees.
It's okay. It's okay to be a piece of shit. You know, not everybody has to be the top notch, you know, but if you're a piece of shit, go ahead, raise your fucking hand. At least we know who you are.
I know.
If you know your life's fucked and your life's, you know, that might be the one thing. Hey, I think my whole life fucking blows. My whole life's been fucked up. And, you know, someone else who's not fucked up might come along and be like, you know, maybe I'll show you a cool path of how to enlighten yourself and learn and educate yourself. And you can take all those dark things that you've lived through and use them as a fuel to do good things and pay things forward in society and make this a good fucking place to be. Because guess what, guy? I'm your neighbor. If you're doing wrong, it affects me.
Yeah. That's what people come to us for, and we send them on their way. And what happens to them beyond that, man, it's up to them and God.
We're all stuck on this rabbit turd, man. It's just saying. We've got to pull this shit together. think of all the good things we could do if we weren't going at each other, investing all that money into positive things for society instead of trying to kill each other off. Now, realistically, I thoroughly agree that a good portion of society is just going to have to go.
Well,
We know who that
the coming
we know
like
who that
food
portion is.
riots is what's really going to be the tipping point.
Like I said, right is right, wrong is wrong. When it comes down to it, these platforms know who bad people are. And I think the rods of God sort of scenario are going to come through when your genetic code key things comes up one day and that, yep, that's a piece of shit.
Well, I think those are good closing
Bye.
statements there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's almost 2.
It's been
Well,
awesome.
it's 1:40.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, let's end it on that one.
Yeah. We love you, man.
Let's- People are wanting to go into other conversations.
Yeah, they're
It's
talking about coyotes and shit.
1:40.
I don't even know.
No, they're not.
They're getting tired.
No, Rose is talking about frequencies, but that's
Yeah.
going to open up a whole nother
They're
2
drifting
hours. We do need to talk about
that-
frequencies sometime.
It comes back to music, you know. It's
Mhm.
Everything's an oscillation platform. It's everything has a resonance. Your subatomic platforms is a resonance. They figured out how to get it to evaporate cellular substances with music therapy.
Yeah.
Like diseased cells could be
Yep.
destroyed by the Wraith device, I think it was called.
In the beginning of the
So
universe,
if
there
you
was a
think-
sound.
We have a Rife machine if you ever need it.
Yeah.
We have
I
one.
probably need more than that thing. But
Right.
I have an electroshock therapy system if any of you need it.
Okay.
That could be fun.
I have a
I can
real
think of
actually.
Jesus for that.
I have an actual electroshock therapy system.
Oh, wow.
Sweet.
The head, I could give you a lobotomy and everything. So if you really,
Oh,
hate
wow.
yourself,
Yeah.
That'll
I
be
mean,
good for our
you can
enemies.
make an appointment sometime.
Yes.
Sounds like a date, man.
Yes.
It was good chatting with you all.
All right, we love you.
Difficulty, but
Pleasure as always, man.
Yeah.
good. All right, you guys all have a good night.
You have a good night. We
Sweet
love
day.
you, Larry.
Smoke weed every day.
Smoke weed every day. Love you, Larry. Good night.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It is raining like a motherfucker.
It is raining. Can y'all hear that?
They probably can because I can only hear myself like half as loud now.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
it's really loud.
Well, I hope
Well-
you guys enjoyed Larry.
Yeah, thanks for hanging in there. Our numbers stayed pretty much the same, so I think most people enjoyed.
Yeah.
We love Larry, and there's a lot to learn there.
We love you guys.
Go back and
Um,
take notes and look up all this stuff.
Go do some research
This is one of those lives that
because really
you take notes from.
all we try to do is make people think for themselves in some kind of way. It doesn't really matter what you're thinking about as long as you're using your brain for something.
Mhm.
So go use it,
Yeah,
please.
start worrying about yourselves.
Like it says over here, if you guys need anything like shirt wise or Predator Hunter Nation wise, there's that. Stuff from the shop, I'll run that one. Smoky Mountain Hemp Cafe at gmail.com. Send me an email.
Yeah,
We'll get you squared away. And if you have any questions about anything, you can contact us at either of those places or on Facebook or whatever.
yep.
And we love you guys.
We love
Hope
you guys.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.